with the needs of times in the world and also with special focus on the global requirement for sustainable development goals.
Residential campus with excellent hostel facility. Chanakya University, inspired by Indian values and humanity. For more details, www.chanakyauniversity.in.
You are the pioneering batch of this university. What you are going to learn here is not only a set of skills, but you will get an opportunity to mold your personality the way that you look at your future.
Our very purpose is building knowledge, converting the students into a good leader. Each one of you have a huge opportunity to fully develop in a holistic manner. Thrust of this particular university is to provide as much as possible learning in an experiential manner.
What we want is you to be learned citizens and more responsible citizens. What is very important is plan the day, please do it the same day, don't postpone it. Postponement is the worst disease and more contagious disease. The accumulation of postponement is going to put you down.
Chanakya is an icon, is a statement, is a message in itself. You are a real Chanakya and you will be remembered for the work, you will be remembered for the contribution, and you will be remembered for the value that you can bring to the society.
The opinion about what is local, what is national, what is international is very much influenced by the history of that country and the way it has evolved and how much of influence it had also had to undergo with foreign domination and so on. One should understand that the Indian civilization runs into millennia, It has developed and evolved and come to the level of sophistication in terms of thought processes as well as action processes, which is unparalleled. There has been a period when this impact was underestimated, primarily because the people who wanted to exploit India found it more apt for them to orient the Indians to do their type of work that they wanted. In this process, India's very rich past got buried. Now the country is progressing, economically becoming much and more and more among the emerging economies, and finally going into the high level economies. And there is an awakening in the population as to the importance of the kind of heritage that we have and the traditions we have developed over millennia. And whether it is in the knowledge spectrum, for example, it could be in the area of science, it could be in the metallurgy, it could be in medicine like Ayurveda and that kind of a thing, or yoga and other kinds of practices. In each one of them, today there is an effort to understand the basis, the scientific orientation of this with respect to how did it happen to the Indians that this is going to be the solution to the humankind, whether it is in health or in food or other areas. So these kind of things today, a scientific basis is coming on one side, but the practice has shown that it has got their own impact and efficacy, which is on the positive side. So it is important that institutions like the Chanakya University revives this, looks at it from the point of view of its applicability to the modern society, which is many, I should say, and also put the scientific basis or the logical basis for the same, and at the same time use the enormous database. For example, the clinical data of an Ayurveda system dates back to 4,000 to 5,000 years, and it's an enormous, there is no parallel clinical data available in any medical system. So if we can bring all of them together, bring a scientific basis for on one side, at the same time explore and expand the utilization of this kind of a traditional system, not only in areas of health but in area of education and many other areas of national endeavor, I think India can certainly claim its own preeminent position, not only in being at the world class, at the frontiers of research and technology, but also in the using of a traditional knowledge, which is equally finding its place in the society, so far as its application to a common man is concerned in the 21st century.
Hello, check. Hello, check. Hello. भारत जननी तनु जाते जय हे कर्नाटक माते जय सुंदर नदी वनಗಳ नारे जय हे रस ಋಷಿಗಳ ಬೀಡೆ ಚೆಕ್ ಬೇಕಲ್ಲ ಚೆಕ್ ಹಲೋ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೈಕ್ಸ್ಗೂ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ವಾಲ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕೊಡಿ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹಲೋ ಚೆಕ್ check, 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 check.
Namaste, a warm good evening. Ellargu namaskara, swagata. The official launch of Chanakya University. The program shall commence in few minutes. Please note, request all to kindly be seated. This is a solemn academic program scheduled to run for 1 hour 45 minutes. Request all of you to kindly note. Therefore, kindly keep your mobiles in the silent mode. Perhaps this is one of the greatest intellectual confluence that we can expect. Considering the time restriction, let's try to derive the maximum of it. The guests and dignitaries are on the way. We shall commence the program soon. Request all those who are outside the auditorium kindly to enter and be seated. Request all the invitees to kindly occupy seats in the rows without leaving any gaps in the middle. We shall commence soon. Dhanyavad. Check. We are happy to welcome the dignitaries. The program is about to commence. Request all invitees to kindly be seated. Pleased to have the presence of the former Chief Minister, Sriman B.S. Yediyurappa. Kindly be seated. We are commencing the program. The volunteers are requested to kindly assist the guests and invitees. Yes, all the dignitaries are here. The program shall commence any time. kindly note, please keep your mobile phones in silent mode. It's a solemn academic occasion. And we are very, very privileged to have this global assembly of intellectual leaders today with us on the occasion of the official launch of Chanakya University, Bengaluru. Now, namaste again. To commence this program, may I request the deans and professors of Chanakya University to kindly escort the dignitaries onto the dais. Invitees are requested to settle down, please. To commence, I am privileged to request the deans and professors of Chanakya University to kindly escort the dignitaries onto the dais. We are very honored to have with us the president of the occasion, Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan sir, Professor Manjul Bhargava, Srimati Sudha Murthy, Sri Chris Gopalakrishnan, Sri Mohandas Pai sir, Sri Sitaramji Jindal, Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayan sir, along with the team of leadership of Chanakya, led by the Honorable Chancellor, Professor M.K. Sridhar sir, the Pro-Chancellor, Sri M.P. Kumar sir, the Vice-Chancellor, Professor Yashwant Dongre, and the Secretary, Sri Nagaraji Reddy. So that's the assembly of our dignitaries today. We are also pleased to have with us today members of our Board of Governors and Advisors. So may I also request the deans and professors to kindly escort Honorable Justice A.V. Chandrasekhar sir, Sri S.V. Ranganath, former Chief Secretary, Government of Karnataka, Professor S. Sadagopan sir, Founder Director of IIIT Bengaluru, Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, Vice Chairman, University Grants Commission, Professor Sunaina Singh, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Nalanda University, Professor Gomati Devi, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Maharani Cluster University, Professor Bhim Roy Maitri, Director, IIM Nagpur, Sri Hari Kiran Vadlamani, Founder, Indic Academy and Mentor of Network for Indian Cultural Enterprises, Dr. Chandra Prakash Dwivedi, Scholar, Filmmaker, Thinker, Professor Michel Danino, Indic Scholar, Professor Anurag Bair, CEO of Azim Premji University, Sri Harish Bijur, Brand Consultant. We are pleased to have them with us. Request the deans to kindly escort them to the dais. Now, I am pleased to request Professor Dr. Bhavani M.R., Associate Professor, School of Commerce and Management, to be the host for the evening. Professor Dr. Bhavani. we shall soon be joined by the chief guest of the occasion, Professor Manjul Bhargava. Requesting Professor Dr. Bhavani Madam to host the evening.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. I am Dr. Bhavani MR from the School of Commerce and Management, Chanakya University. ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ತಂಡದಿಂದ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಆದರದ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಸರ್ವಪ್ರಥಮವಾಗಿ ಈ ಪುಣ್ಯ ಭೂಮಿಯ ಮತ್ತು ಪವಿತ್ರತೆ ಮತ್ತು ವೈಭವವನ್ನು ಮೆರೆಸುವ ನಾಡಗೀತೆಯನ್ನು ಪ್ರಸ್ತುತಪಡಿಸಲು ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಚಾಂದಿನಿ ಗರ್ತಿಕೆರೆ ಮತ್ತು ತಂಡವದರನ್ನು ಆಹ್ವಾನಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ದಯವಿಟ್ಟು ಎದ್ದು ನಿಲ್ಲಬೇಕಾಗಿ ವಿನಂತಿ. ಕೈಂಡ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಪ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಆಂಥಮ್.
जननीय तनुजाते जय हे कर्नाटक माते जय सुंदर नदी वनगळनाडे जय हे रस ऋषिಗಳ ಬೀಡೆ ಭೂದೇವಿಯ ಮಕುಟದ ನವಮಣಿಯೇ ಗಂಗದ ಚಂದದ ಹೊನ್ನಿನ ಗಣಿಯೇ ರಾಘವ ಮಧುಸೂದನರವತರಿಸಿದ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಜನನಿಯ ಜೋಗುಳ ಜನನಿಯ ಜೀವವು ನಿನ್ನಾವೇಶ ಹಸುರಿನ ಗಿರಿಗಳ ಸಾಲೆ ನಿನ್ನಯ ಕೊರಳಿನ ಮಾಲೆ ಕಪಿಲ ಪತಂಜಲ ಗೌತಮ ಜಿನನುತ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಶಂಕರ ರಮನುಜ ವಿದ್ಯಾರಣ್ಯ ಬಸವೇಶ್ವರ ಮಧ್ವರ ದಿವ್ಯಾರಣ್ಯ ರನ್ನ ಷಡಕ್ಷರಿ ಪೊನ್ನ ಕಂಪಲ ಕುಮಿಪತಿ ಜನ್ನ ಕುಮಾರ ವ್ಯಾಸರ ಮಂಗಳ ಧಾಮ ಕೋಗಿಲೆಗಳ ಪುಣ್ಯ ರಾಮ ನಾನಕ ರಾಮಾನಂದ ಕಬೀರರ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಕೈಲಪ ಹೊಯ್ಸಳ ರಾಣಿದ ನಾಡೆ ಕಂಕಣ ಜಕಣರ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಬೀಡೆ ಕೃಷ್ಣ ಶರಾವತಿ ತುಂಗ ಕಾವೇರಿಯವರ ರಂಗ ಚೈತನ್ಯ ಪರಮಹಂಸ ವಿವೇಕರ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಸರ್ವ ಜನಾಂಗದ ಶಾಂತಿಯ ತೋಟ ರಸಿಕರ ಕಂಗಳ ಸೆಳೆಯುವ ನೋಟ ಹಿಂದೂ ಕ್ರೈಸ್ತ ಮುಸಲ್ಮಾನ ಪಾರಸಿಕ ಜೈನ ಉದ್ಯಾನ ಜನಕನ ಹೋಲುವ ದೊರೆಗಳ ರಾಮ ಕಾಯಕ ವೈಣಿಕರ ರಾಮ ಕನ್ನಡ ನುಡಿ ಕುಣಿದಾಡುವ ಗೇಹ ಕನ್ನಡ ತಾಯಿಯ ಮಂಗಳ ದೇಹ ಭಾರತ ಜನನಿಯ ತನುಜಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ ಜಯ ಹೇ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಮಾತೆ.
Thank you very much. To invoke the blessings of Goddess of Learning, I invite Srimati Chandini Gartikere and team to present Saraswati Vandana. Check, check.
ಚೆಕ್. जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः. जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः. नाद ब्रह्ममयि जय वागीश्वरी, नाद ब्रह्ममयि जय वागीश्वरी, शरणं ते गच्छामः. जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः. त्वमसि शरण्या त्रिभुवनधन्या सुरमुनिवन्दितचरणा. त्वमसि शरण्या त्रिभुवनधन्या सुरमुनिवन्दितचरणा. नवरसमधुरा कवितामुखरा, नवरसमधुरा कवितामुखरा, स्मितरुचिरुचिराभरणा. जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणं प्रणमामः. आसीना भव मानसहंसे कुन्दतुहिन शशिधवले. आसीना भव मानसहंसे कुन्दतुहिन शशिधवले. हर जडतां कुरु बोधिविकासं, हर जडतां कुरु बोधिविकासं. वितपङ्कजतनु विमले. जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः. ललितकलामयि ज्ञानविभामयि वीणा पुस्तकधारिणी. ललितकलामयि ज्ञानविभामयि वीणा पुस्तकधारिणी. मतिरास्तां नो तव पदकमले, मतिरास्तां नो तव पदकमले. ऐकुण्ठविषहारिणी. जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः. नाद ब्रह्ममयि जय वागीश्वरी, नाद ब्रह्ममयि जय वागीश्वरी, शरणं ते गच्छामः. जय जय हे भगवती सुरभारती तव चरणों प्रणमामः. तव चरणों प्रणमामः, तव चरणों प्रणमामः.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಶ್ರೀಮತಿ ಚಾಂದಿನಿ ಮತ್ತು ತಂಡಕ್ಕೆ. Professor of Commerce with over 4 decades of experience, a visiting faculty at Ritsumeikan University, Japan, a global consultant on the third sector and the Asia Pacific Chair of the International Cooperative Alliance, and the founder, Vice Chancellor of Chanakya University, Professor Yashwant Dongre, is requested to welcome the August Assembly. Sir.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯವನ್ನು ಲೋಕಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವ ಈ ಸುಂದರ ಸಮಾರಂಭಕ್ಕೆ ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಹಾರ್ದಿಕವಾದ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಕಳೆದ ಕೆಲವೇ ತಿಂಗಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಅಧಿಕೃತ ಅನುಮೋದನೆಯೊಂದಿಗೆ ಆರಂಭವಾಗಿ ಮಾರ್ಚ್ 2022ರಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಯವರೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಅಗತ್ಯವಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಅನುಮೋದನೆಗಳನ್ನು ಪಡೆದು ಪಠ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ರಚಿಸಿ ಇದೇ ವರ್ಷದ ಆಗಸ್ಟ್ ತಿಂಗಳಿನಿಂದ ಕಾರ್ಯಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿದೆ. The university which came up with a new vision, with an idea of implementing the spirit of national education policy, with a stated objective of producing transformative leaders, has now started taking steps. In Chanakya University, we do a lot of things that are similar to what other universities do, but we do a lot more things which are very different from what other universities do. Having committed to the idea of national education policy, we follow a liberal education model. We try and give opportunities for the students for holistic learning. We have a composition of foundational courses for personality development, competence courses for skill development, open electives for pursuing the passion, and discipline core for domain knowledge, which students of every discipline would undergo. ಉನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಪ್ರಕ್ರಿಯೆಯನ್ನು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಅರ್ಥಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ಕಲಿಕೆಯ ಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಸಂತೋಷದ ಮಾರ್ಗವಾಗಿ ಆಚರಿಸುವುದು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನುವ ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯವನ್ನು ಆರಂಭ ಮಾಡಲಾಗಿದೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭವಾದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ಅದರ ಹಿಂದಿನ ವಿವರಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಲಾಧಿಪತಿಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಸಹ ಕುಲಾಧಿಪತಿಗಳು ಮುಂದಿನ ಮಾತುಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಮಗೆ ತಿಳಿಸಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಇವತ್ತಿನ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಗಣ್ಯರನ್ನು ಆಹ್ವಾನಿಸುವ ಮಟ್ಟಕ್ಕೆ ಸೀಮಿತಗೊಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತೇನೆ. ಇಂದಿನ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆಯನ್ನು ವಹಿಸಿರುವವರು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಕೆ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ರಂಗನ್ರವರು. ನಮ್ಮ ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಅವರನ್ನು ನಾನು ಪರಿಚಯಿಸಬೇಕಾದ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಸ್ರೋದಿಂದ ಆರಂಭಿಸಿ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನೀತಿಯನ್ನು ರಚಿಸುವಲ್ಲಿಯವರೆಗೆ ಹಲವಾರು ಸ್ತರಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತಮ್ಮನ್ನು ತಾವು ತೊಡಗಿಸಿಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ರಂಗನ್ರವರು ನಮಗೆ ಆಶೀರ್ವಾದ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸಲಹೆ ಕೊಡ್ತಾ ಬಂದಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷತೆ ವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರನ್ನು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಮತ್ತು ತಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ತುಂಬು ಹೃದಯದಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. The chief guest of today's function is Professor Manjul Bhargav. I am sure his name appeals both to the young and the old almost in the same way. Manjul is a professor of mathematics. He is a field medalist in mathematics. He is a musician. He is a magician. He is a film producer. And I don't know how many more hats he wears. I can only say that with every passing year, he is looking much younger and younger. That is, I think, for all our good, because I am sure he has a lot to contribute. Professor Manjul, we are indeed extremely happy to have you with us as the chief guest of today. A very warm welcome to you. ಈ ಸಂಜೆಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬರು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳು ಸುಧಾಮೂರ್ತಿಯವರು. ಬಹುಶಃ ಮಂಜುಳ್ ಭಾರ್ಗವರ ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ಸುಧಾಮೂರ್ತಿಯವರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಕೂಡ ಯಾವುದೇ ಪರಿಚಯವನ್ನು ನಾನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕಾದ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದು ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಅಥವಾ ಅವರು ಒಬ್ಬ ಕೃತಿಕಾರರಾಗಿ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಕಾರ್ಯಕರ್ತೆಯಾಗಿ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ಅಥವಾ ದಾನಿಯಾಗಿ ಆಗಿರಲಿ, ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸುಧಾಮೂರ್ತಿಯವರು ಚಿರಪರಿಚಿತರು. ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮೊಂದಿಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಭಾವಿಸ್ತಾ ಸುಧಾಮೂರ್ತಿಯವರನ್ನು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ವಿನಮ್ರತೆಯಿಂದ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳು ಶ್ರೀ ಸೀತಾರಾಮ್ ಜಿಂದಾಲ್ರವರು. ಜಿಂದಾಲ್ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆಯನ್ನು ಕಟ್ಟಿ ಬೆಳೆಸಿ ಜಿಂದಾಲ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ನ ಮೂಲಕ ಹಲವಾರು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು, ಸಾಮಾಜಿಕ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು, ಶೈಕ್ಷಣಿಕ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಗಳನ್ನು ಹಮ್ಮಿಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಜಿಂದಾಲ್ರವರು ನಮಗೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಮೆಂಟರ್, ಒಬ್ಬ ಸಲಹೆಗಾರರು, ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ ಹೆಚ್ಚವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಕಟ್ಟುವ ಸಹವರ್ತಿಯಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮೊಡನೆ ನಿಂತು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವ್ರು. ಶ್ರೀ ಸೀತಾರಾಮ್ ಜಿಂದಾಲ್ರವರು ನಮ್ಮ ನಡುವೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು ಈಗ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಂತೋಷದ ವಿಷಯ. 90ರ ಹರೆಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಯಿಂದ ಮುಂದುವರಿತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಸೀತಾರಾಮ್ ಜಿಂದಾಲ್ರವರಿಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ತೊಡಗಿಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ, ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯವನ್ನು ನಡೆಸುವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಇರುವ ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಸಲಹಾ ಸಮಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಸಕ್ರಿಯವಾಗಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಚಿರಪರಿಚಿತರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಉದ್ಯಮಿಗಳು, ಅತ್ಯುತ್ತಮ ನಾಯಕರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ್ ಅವರು ನಮ್ಮ ನಡುವೆ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರು ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಗವರ್ನರ್ನ ಸದಸ್ಯರು. ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸನ್ನು ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸಿ ಇನ್ಫೋಸಿಸ್ ಸೈಂಟಿಫಿಕ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ನ ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದು ಹಲವಾರು ಚಟುವಟಿಕೆಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಡಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಗೋಪಾಲ್ ಕೃಷ್ಣನ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಹ್ವಾನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಅವರಂತೆಯೇ ಇನ್ನೊಬ್ಬ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಪ್ರಮುಖ ಕೈಗಾರಿಕೋದ್ಯಮಿ ಕಿರಣ್ ಮಜುಮ್ದಾರ್ ಶಾ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸಲಹಾ ಸಮಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಸಕ್ರಿಯವಾಗಿದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಸಂವಹನಗಳಿಗೆ ಬಹುಶಃ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಕ್ವಿಕ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗೋದು ಅವರಿಂದ. ಇವತ್ತು ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಸಭೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಅಮೂಲ್ಯವಾದ ಸಲಹೆಗಳನ್ನು ಅವರು ನೀಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಅತಿಥಿಯಾಗಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಿರಣ್ ಮಜುಮ್ದಾರ್ ಶಾ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಹಾಗೆಯೇ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಕನಸನ್ನು ತಮ್ಮ ಕನಸಿನ ಭಾಗವಾಗಿ ತೆಗೆದುಕೊಂಡು ಮುನ್ನಡೆಸ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವವರು, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಹಳ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ MDK ಅಂತ ಕರೀತಾ ಇರುವ ಮೋಹನ್ ದಾಸ್ ಪೈ ಅವರು. ಹೀ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಬಂಡಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಎನರ್ಜಿ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಲಕ್ಕಿ. We sometimes also feel a little afraid that he is with us because he pushes it with that much force. He is here with us as one of our guests. Very warm welcome to Mohan Das Pai. A most important among our dignitaries also today who also holds a part of the statutory responsibility. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಯಿದೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಗವರ್ನರ್ ವಿಸಿಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಉನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಚಿವರು ಸಹ ವಿಸಿಟರ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಪ್ರೋ ವಿಸಿಟರ್. ಶ್ರೀ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ CN ಅಶ್ವಥ್ ನಾರಾಯಣ್, ಹೈಯರ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟರ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಪ್ರೋ ವಿಸಿಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಅವರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಈಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್. Sir, we welcome you to this function. We have a host of members of our Board of Governors as well as Advisory Council who are present and who are here on the dais today. During the day, we had a meeting of the Advisory Council. And among us in the meeting present, and most of them who are present here, include Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, former Vice Chairman of UGC, Professor Sunaina Singh, Vice Chancellor of Nalanda University, Dr. Chandrasekhar Dwivedi, renowned film director. I am sure all of you remember his role as Chanakya in the Chanakya serial. Chanakya is here. Professor Sadagopan, former director of IIIT Bangalore. Harikiran Valdamni, founder Indic Academy. Shri S.V. Ranganath, former Chief Secretary, Government of Karnataka. Professor Bhimrai Maitri, Director, Indian Institute of Management, Nagpur. Shri Anurag Beher, CEO, Azim Premji Foundation. Professor Michael Danino, Visiting Professor, IIT Gandhinagar. With them, we also have very, very important members of our Board of Governors, Justice Chandrasekhar, former Justice of Karnataka High Court, and Professor Gomati Devi, Vice Chancellor of Maharani Cluster University. I welcome all of them. They have been playing a very, very important role in shaping this university. We also have a large number of very, very important dignitaries here. I really cannot name all of them. It is going to take too long a time. But I have to mention one or two here. One of the most important dignitary we have right in front sitting is Sri Yadiyurappa former Chief Minister of Karnataka, who supported our university a lot right from the beginning. We have Dr. Somnathan, Chairman of ISRO, with us. We have Govindan Rangarajan, Director of Indian Institute of Science here. We have Prashant Prakash, entrepreneur and the one who is leading Bangalore Vision Group here. We have a lot of vice chancellors. I can see all of them, and if I start saying the names, I may miss some. So we have vice chancellors of state universities. We have vice chancellor of private universities. We have the vice chairman of Karnataka State Higher Education Council, the CEO of Higher Education Council, a host of senior government officers. All are present here, and I extend a very, very warm welcome to all of them. I'm sorry for not naming all of you. We have among you a lot of people whom we know, who have been partnering with us, helping with us. And when we were taking this auditorium today, we were wondering whether we really need this big a room, but now we see that it has not only been full, that there are people outside. So thank you very much for your support. We extend a very, very warm welcome to all of you who have gathered here. ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿರುವ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ನಾನು ಬಯಸ್ತೇನೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಮೊದಲ ಬ್ಯಾಚಿನ 101 ಅಣಿಮುತ್ತುಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಫ್ಯಾಕಲ್ಟಿ ಮೆಂಬರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಇಡೀ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯ ಸ್ಟಾಫ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮವನ್ನು ಸಂಘಟಿಸುವುದರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವರನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮವರೇ ಆದರೂ ಹೆಸರು ಹೇಳಲೇಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮ ಕುಲಾಧಿಪತಿಗಳಾದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ MK ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅವರು, ಸಹ ಕುಲಾಧಿಪತಿಗಳಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ MP ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು, ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಸ್ಥಾಪನಾ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಸೆಸ್ನ ಕಾರ್ಯದರ್ಶಿಯವರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಶ್ರೀ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರು, ಸೆಸ್ನ ಇಡೀ ಆಡಳಿತ ಮಂಡಳಿ, ಸೆಸ್ನ ನಿರ್ದೇಶಕರು ಮತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟಾಫ್ ಅವರು ಕೂಡ ಇವತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರನ್ನೂ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸುತ್ತಾ, ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಹಾರೈಕೆಯಿಂದ ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯ ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ನೀಡುವಂತೆ ಆಗುತ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ಭಾವಿಸ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನು ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೇನೆ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಪರವಾಗಿ ತಮಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆರೆದಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಒಂದು ಚಿಕ್ಕದಾಗಿ ಒಂದು ಮೆಮೆಂಟೋಸ್ನ ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿ ವಿನಂತಿ. ನೆನಪಿನ ಕಾಣಿಕೆ ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ಸರ್ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರ್ ಪ್ರೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ MP ಕುಮಾರ್ ಸರ್. ವಿ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಯು ಟು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಓವರ್ ದ ಮೆಮೆಂಟೋಸ್ ಟು ಆಲ್ ಅವರ್ ಗೆಸ್ಟ್ಸ್.
Thank you. Dhanyavadagalu, sir. A celebrated teacher, educationist, institution builder, member of the NEP committee, member of the University Grants Commission, apart from host of other distinction, and the founder, chancellor of Chanakya University, Professor M.K. Sridhar sir, is a leader who compels inspiration. May I request, sir, to present the introductory note on the occasion, sir.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸಸ್ನೇಹ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಲೋಕಾರ್ಪಣೆಯ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಅಧ್ಯಕ್ಷರಾದಂಥ ಹಿರಿಯರಾದಂಥ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ರಂಗನ್ ಅವರೇ, ಮುಖ್ಯ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಅಮೆರಿಕದಿಂದ ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿರುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕ ಮಂಜುಲ್ ಭಾರ್ಗವ ಅವರೇ, ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಗೌರವ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಾಗಿ ಆಗಮಿಸಿರೋ ಹಿರಿಯರಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಸೀತಾರಾಮ್ ಜಿಂದಾಲ್ ಅವರೇ, ಸುಧಾ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರೇ, ಕ್ರಿಸ್ ಗೋಪಾಲಕೃಷ್ಣನ್ ಅವರೇ, ಕಿರಣ್ ಮಜುಮ್ದಾರ್ ಶಾ ಅವರೇ, ಮೋಹನ್ ದಾಸ್ ಪೈ ಅವರೇ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸರ್ಕಾರದ ಉನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಚಿವರಾದ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಅಶ್ವತ್ಥ ನಾರಾಯಣ್ ಅವರೇ, ನನ್ನ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥ ಸಹ ಉಪಕುಲಾಧಿಪತಿಗಳಂಥ MP ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರೇ, ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಯಶವಂತ್ ಡೋಂಗ್ರೆ ಅವರೇ ಮತ್ತು ನಾಗರಾಜ್ ರೆಡ್ಡಿ ಅವರೇ, ಮತ್ತು ವೇದಿಕೆಯ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಸೀನರಾಗಿರುವ ಬೋರ್ಡ್ ಆಫ್ ಗವರ್ನರ್ಸ್ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಸದಸ್ಯರೇ, ಅಂತಾರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಸಲಹಾ ಸಮಿತಿಯ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗೌರವಾನ್ವಿತ ಸದಸ್ಯರೇ ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಜರಿದ್ದು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ನಮ್ಮ ಲೋಕಾರ್ಪಣಾ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಕ್ಷೀಭೂತರಾಗಿ ನಿಂತಿರುವಂಥ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂಧು ಭಗಿನಿಯರೇ, ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಉದ್ದೇಶ ಮತ್ತು ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶದ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಕೆಲವು ಅಂಶಗಳನ್ನು ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಹಂಚಿಕೊಳ್ಳಲು ಬಯಸುತ್ತೇನೆ. This occasion is truly momentous, both to me and the entire Chanakya University team. Today is also happens to be the birthday of Jhansi Rani Lakshmi Bai. Until a couple of years ago, the establishment of such university was a dream for us. And then, in a little while, it became a real idea. Then came a phase where we got the courage, with the support of many of you present here, to develop that idea. And today, we can see the idea has become a reality. First of all, let me thank all of you for your presence, best wishes, and blessings in making the dream of Chanakya University become a reality in Bengaluru. Once again, thank you for being with us today and through our journey so far in future also. As I mentioned before, the idea of Chanakya University is very simple. It is to build a university with the purpose of creating knowledge and developing transformative leaders to this country, and not only this country, to the entire world, for holistic development. Sorry. This purpose is the outcome of many months of reflection, discussion, debate, and dialogue. The context for this purpose, whatever purpose that we have kept, has twofold context. One is the National Education Policy 2020, and the other is to reposition Indian knowledge system as a sustainable and effective toolkit for addressing not just Indian challenges, contemporary challenges world over. The National Education Policy gave us the framework, a platform, and energy to convert our idea into reality. Thus, our university is an expression of the vision of national education policy on how a university should be: a multidisciplinary institution with a liberal education, empowerment of students, best practices in governance, continuously endeavoring for excellence in research and teaching, and deep engagement with community based on values. Chanakya University has incorporated this vision in everything that has been done so far and hopes to go by its values even in the future. Another context for our university is our commitment to our ethos, culture, heritage, and knowledge system deeply rooted in India and her civilizational wisdom. We take inspiration and strength from that. This rootedness in India also fires our belief that knowledge and the endeavor is to create knowledge are common to all humanity. Chanakya University firmly believes and will pursue in letter and spirit our endeavor to work towards the appropriateness and applicability of Indian knowledge system for addressing contemporary and modern challenges. These challenges are common across the world, be it that of climate change or inclusive development. Our goal is to develop an ecosystem by working towards truly transdisciplinary solutions to address such contemporary challenges. The greatest imprint of our university will not only be in developing the competence of our students, but developing a deep sense of values. In this regard, we are committed to academic excellence as much as we are committed to living and developing the values of integrity, humanism, and collaboration. We are fully conscious that these are all not just small, very big ambitions. Our beginning is only a small, humble attempt towards these ambitions. As long as your generous hearts and supportive hands are with us, the path ahead is not difficult at all. There is something else that stands as a source of encouragement to us. This is none other than the great man who has inspired the name of our university. He is one of the most illustrious examples of the ideal of deep scholarship with immediate practical relevance and engagement with the world. More than that, he is also an exemplar of how dedicated, persistent effort can change the world. He worked step by step to create India's first integrating empire and wrote a text that even today is one of the most important of texts for statecraft, governance, and life in general. He inspires us in our journey. It is very clear to us that this is the beginning of a long journey. We are blessed to have your presence here and your guidance and support. Thank you very much for gracing the occasion. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Thank you so much, sir, for setting the tone for today's event. To get a glimpse of this extraordinary journey, may we request the Director for the Center for Indian Knowledge System and Communications at Chanakya University, Dr. Vinay Chandra Banavati ji, to present a brief audio-visual on Chanakya University.
A life that springs from the wisdom of 1,000 years. A life that rises with indomitable will. A life that springs from the wisdom of 1,000 years. A life that rises with indomitable will. A life that is anchored in purposeful action. Is a life that is rooted in ideals and ascending with ideas. Chanakya University.
Indian education and Indian higher education also is undergoing a paradigm shift. Consequently, the role of education and consequently the role of higher education is also changing. I think that time has come for us to build our own models of higher education. In this context of paradigm shift of higher education, I think we as a country, we need to build different models. Our vision of Chanakya University is primarily to build the transformative leaders, not just for living but for the life, as well as for the entire world and humanity.
Chanakya University believes that education is not all about skill and competencies. Education is also about a person being able to understand the self and also have a purpose as to why the education is acquired. This process is built into the process of learning. Our educational modules are transdisciplinary in nature, interdisciplinary in nature. It is not simply that two disciplines are put together. So the learner is as much aware of the ground realities and the uses of the knowledge as he or she is in terms of equipping himself or herself in the knowledge domain. We call our campus a global campus. There is a very happy blend of the modern, not losing the sight of what is India. The campus is spread over in 116 acres of land. This is of course going to be built in a phased manner. It is going to have facilities to accommodate 25,000 students. Residential facilities for the teachers, a performing arts center. There is going to be a knowledge center, which is in fact not just a library, but a repository of all types of knowledge resources. You are going to have sporting facilities where it is even possible for you to host international events. So the campus is seen as something which actually gets everything required for the learning process and making this process enjoyable. It meets all standards of a very good higher educational institution anywhere in the world. The International Advisory Council is chaired by Professor Kasturi Rangan. We have been supported by Sri Sitaram Jindal, the industrialist and philanthropist. There is a host of academicians, industrialists, artists, thinkers, scientists who have been mentoring and guiding us in this journey. This balance actually helps us to draw policies and action plans which are not only to fulfill the legal requirements but also are in tune with the expectations of the society and the youth in general. We have made Chanakya University into a multidisciplinary university, and we create an ambience where students of these different disciplines keep interacting, they live together and learn together, and that makes Chanakya University a place for real holistic learning and a place where learners will carve out a future for themselves, where they are not only going to be the leaders but they are also going to be both the knowledge creators as well as the knowledge practitioners.
Thank you so much. An entrepreneur, educationist, philanthropist, president of Rashtrothana Parishad, and founder, former CEO of Global Edge Technologies Limited, Shri MP Kumar Sir has been guiding light in this journey of establishment of Chanakya University. As the founder pro-chancellor of Chanakya University, may we request you, sir, to present your opening remarks on this occasion.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಇವತ್ತು ಬಹುಶಃ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷವಾದ ಸಂಜೆ. ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯ ಔಪಚಾರಿಕ ಲೋಕಾರ್ಪಣೆ ಮಾಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ವಿಶೇಷ ಸಂದರ್ಭ. ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೆರೆದಿರೋ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾಗತವನ್ನು ಕೋರ್ತಾ, ವೇದಿಕೆಯ ಮೇಲಿರುವ ಮತ್ತು ವೇದಿಕೆಯ ಕೆಳಗಿರುವ ಗಣ್ಯರೇ ಮತ್ತು ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಬಹಳ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ರೂಪ ತಗೊಂಡಿದೆ. ಅದರ ಒಂದು ಏನು ಪಥಕ್ರಮಣ, ದ ಜರ್ನಿ ವಿಚ್ ಇಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಬೀನ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ couple of years is, I thought I'll just say a couple of sentences to make sure that all of us understand where we are today. You just now saw a wonderful video about how the university campus is going to look like. This is still a dream. We have got it started, but I think to get there, to complete the campus, probably it will take a decade or more. So don't expect it to be there just now, but this is the artistic view of how it is going to look like in a matter of time. But I must tell you, we keep talking about how Chanakya University has been. Bengaluru idu startup-ಗಳ ನಗರ. ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕೂಡ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ಅಪ್. Not just a startup, it is also a startup which is on fast track. ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟಪ್ಪು ಏನೇನು ಅನುಭವಿಸ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಬಹುಶಃ ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್ ಜಗತ್ತಿಗೆ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆ್ಯಕ್ಚುಲಿ ದೇರ್. ಇವತ್ತು ಲೋಕಾರ್ಪಣೆಗೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, ಆದರೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕನಸು ಭಾಳ ದಿನಗಳದ್ದು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಡ್ರೀಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕ್ವೈಟ್ ಸಮ್ ಟೈಮ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಟ್ ಹಸ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ಸಿಗ್ನಿಫಿಕೆಂಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಡ್ in the last couple of years. When we thought we should try to do something like this, to build a university which is rooted in Indic culture, globally competitive, innovative, and entrepreneurial. That has been our dream. To make this dream a reality, NEP, Dr. Kasturirangan is here. Under his leadership, how the national education policy which has been drafted, which has been adopted by the government, actually created an impetus and an opportunity for us to try this, because this provides for setting up of a completely liberal university. This opportunity wasn't there before NEP. Now we are trying to take this as an opportunity to see how we can build a model university which is based on national education policy, which is truly liberal and holistic in its approach. But when we wanted to do this, many of us are not completely familiar with setting up of a university, let alone university. Probably many of us have not even set up a college, but still we thought we will do it. But that was possible only because the approach we have taken is to see how we can do the best. Whatever we do, can we do the best, and the pursuit of excellence. The advantage of being in Bangalore is that ಬೆಂಗಳೂರಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಥರ ಪ್ರತಿಭೆಗಳಿದೆ ಮತ್ತು ಯಾರನ್ನು ಬೇಕಾದರೂ ಸಂಪರ್ಕ ಮಾಡಿ ಅವ್ರ ಸಹಾಯ ತಗೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ. ನಾವು ಆ ಅವಕಾಶವನ್ನು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ, ಮುಂದೆ ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ನಾವು ಹೋಗಿ ಕೇಳಿದ್ದು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿರಂಗನ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಅವರೇ ಈ NEPಯ ನಿರ್ಮಾತೃ. ಅವರು ತುಂಬ ಎನ್ಕರೇಜಿಂಗ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ನಾವೇನೇನು ಮಾಡಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ನಾವು when we envisioned the university, we did a visioning exercise. For the visioning exercise, we went to Professor Mahadevan of IIM Bangalore, who did set up as a founder vice chancellor of Chinmaya University. He conducted the visioning exercise for the entire group multiple times to make sure that we are able to be very clearly articulate the purpose of the university, vision of the university, and also the values. With that, we thought we should now go to the next step. Then we thought we should go and talk to some industrialists, philanthropists, went through and talked to Dr. Sitaram Jindal and Chris Gopalakrishnan and many others. All of them came forward to support us. With that in mind, we thought we should take few steps further. So we approached government and also tried to look for a place. Sitaram Jindal ಅವರು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, you should not look for anything less than 100 acres if you want to build a future university of the global standard. But ಆ ಸಮಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಒಂದು ಉಪಕಾರವಾದಂಥ ಸನ್ನಿವೇಶ ಅಂದರೆ Government of Karnataka under the leadership of B.S. Yediyurappa came forward and allotted 116 acres of land near Haralur village, Devanahalli, Kempegowda International Airport. That became the one other impetus for us to take this forward. Once we got the land, I think we were ready to go and request the government to pass an act to make us the private university in Karnataka. And again, Karnataka government has been very gracious under the leadership of S.R. Bommai, Chief Minister, Ashwath Narayana, the Education Minister, and they passed the act and gave us the status of a private university in Karnataka. And we approached UGC, got approvals. All this happened in very quick succession. So then the issue is about setting up of the courses, getting the academic team in place, and also to start working on the campus. To build a campus which you saw, it also needs a lot of expertise. And that expertise came significantly from our great friend and collaborator in the entire activity by Mohandas Pai. Mohandas Pai has, I think, probably built more than 50 million square foot of space in the whole of the country. They set up great campuses for Infosys. and also set up several universities, being the chairman of Manipal Education Academy. We got that support, and for the entire construction, design, plan, we got great support from Mr. Abhay Jain. I'm sure he's somewhere here. His relentless effort has actually made something which is unbelievable. I'm sure next year by this time, we will all be in our own campus from the next academic year. That again is a dream come true. In the fastest time, the university campus of the global standard is being set up there. So the academic team also started working on courses. We have already announced. Maybe some of you have seen in the exhibition outside. We have started 5 UG courses, and also I think we'll have 3 PG courses. Our PhD courses are going to start by January. So I think academic team is also geared up working on it. And what we are trying to accomplish is not a small thing, but I'm sure with the support of all of you and great people around who are coming forward to help us, we should be able to get there. But starting the university, getting students, is getting very good faculty, of course, is a big challenge. But also we have a big purpose. This is not just yet another private university. This is an university which is completely charitable in nature. This does not belong to any individual. It is a public university, charitable university. And running university is not very easy. We are also trying to find out how to build a financial model which will make the university education, at least in Chanakya University, is affordable. To provide affordable education for at least middle class, upper middle class is not very easy, because higher quality education will actually need more cost. It's not easy to run a university fee by affordable fee alone. We have quite a few financial luminaries trying to help us to build a model. What we are trying to do is to make sure that the entire infrastructure is built over donors' money, that is philanthropic money, so that the entire infrastructure, buildings, everything will be coming from donations, so that does not put any pressure on the financial planning. And also, we are trying to get the best talent to provide merit cum means on a pan-India basis, to see that we are able to get bright but poor children all over the country. Already in the first batch, we have more than 10% of the students belong to this category. We have done an all-India examination to select them. And I must tell you, we are so fortunate that many donors have come forward to sponsor these children for their entire education. So this is the financial model we are trying to do. ಅಂದರೆ ಯಾರು ಪ್ರತಿಭಾವಂತ ಬಡ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣವನ್ನು ದಾನಿಗಳ ಸಹಾಯದಿಂದ ನಡೆಸುವುದು, ಮತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಅಫೋರ್ಡಬಲ್ ಫೀ ಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರಿಂದ ಮಧ್ಯಮ ವರ್ಗದವರಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಿಗೋ ಹಾಗಾಗಬೇಕು. ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್ಗೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ನ ನಾವು ದಾನಿಗಳಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡು ನಡೆಸ್ತೀವಿ. ಇದು ಒಂದು ಫೈನಾನ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವೊಂದು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ದ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಎನಿಬಡಿ ಈಸ್ ಟ್ರೈಂಗ್ ಟು ಡೂ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಶ್ಯೂರ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಸಪೋರ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು, ವಿ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಬಿಲ್ಡ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸಕ್ಸಸ್ಫುಲ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಟುವರ್ಡ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ವಿ ವಾಂಟ್ ಟು ಅಚೀವ್ ಇನ್ ಟರ್ಮ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಬೇಸ್ಡ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್. ಒಂದು ಭಾರತೀಯ ಸಂಸ್ಕೃತಿಯ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಪರಂಪರೆಯ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ಟು ಭಾಳ ಕಾಂಪಿಟೇಟಿವ್ ಆಗಿ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಸ್ಪರ್ಧಾತ್ಮಕ ಜಗತ್ತಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಕಲಿಯುವ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಮುಂದೆ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಅವ್ರ ನಾಯಕರಾಗಬೇಕು, ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯ ಹರಿಕಾರರಾಗಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಉದ್ದೇಶ. ಇದಕ್ಕಾಗಿ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ನಮಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವಿಷಯ, ಇದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ this university is to be a research based university. It is not going to be just degree providing teaching institution. We must provide high quality research. And again, we are trying to get support in setting up of centers of excellence and also chairs for which we are getting endowment. ಅಂದರೆ ದಾನಿಗಳ ಸಹಾಯದಿಂದ ಎಂಡೋಮೆಂಟ್ ಕಾರ್ಪಸ್ ಫಂಡ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಅದರಿಂದ ಬರೋ ಆದಾಯದಿಂದ ನಾವು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು, ಸಂಶೋಧನೆ ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು, ಭಾರತೀಯ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಪರಂಪರೆಯ ಆಧಾರದ ಮೇಲೆ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆ ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು. ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಮತ್ತು ನಾಳೆಯ ಸವಾಲುಗಳಿಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಜ್ಞಾನ ಪರಂಪರೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಪರಿಹಾರಗಳಿದೆ, ಅವುಗಳ ಮೇಲೆ ಸಂಶೋಧನೆ ನಡೆಸಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ನಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ಮಹತ್ತರವಾದ ಆಸೆ. ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಆಗಲೇ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟೇಷನಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಬಯೋಸೈನ್ಸಸ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಸೆಂಟರ್ನ ಸೆಟಪ್ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಬೇಕಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ಸಹಾಯವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಅನೇಕ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ಸ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಬಂದಿವೆ. ಮುಂಬರುವ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಿಟ್ಟಿನಲ್ಲೂ ನಾವು ಕೆಲಸ ಮುಂದುವರಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಸಹಕಾರದಿಂದ ಈ ಕನಸು ನನಸಾಗಲಿ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಭಗವಂತನ ಕೃಪೆ ದೊರೆಯಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ 2 ಮಾತು ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್. As the Honorable Chancellor says, we are a private university in the spirit of a public institution. Thank you, sir. Why blame the darkness when none has stopped you from lighting a lamp? Thus summing up the philosophy of our aspirations, we believe Chanakya University shall offer a new ray of brightness in the global intellectual horizon. To symbolize the same, may we request the dignitaries to formally mark the Lokarpan of the university by lighting the auspicious lamp. Request the chief guest and the guests of honor to kindly light the lamp to mark the Lokarpan of Chanakya University. May I request Srimati Sridevi to render the invocation.
ಜೀವನವೆಂಬುದು ದೇವರು ಹಚ್ಚಿದ ಉಜ್ವಲ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಹೊಸ ದೀಪ. ಜೀವನವೆಂಬುದು ದೇವರು ಹಚ್ಚಿದ ಉಜ್ವಲ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಹೊಸ ದೀಪ. ಜತನದಿ ಕಾದರೆ ಸರಿ ಶತಮಾನವು ಬಾಳುವುದಿದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲವೂ ತಾಪ. ಜತನದಿ ಕಾದರೆ ಸರಿ ಶತಮಾನವು ಬಾಳುವುದಿದಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲವೂ ತಾಪ. ಜೀವನವೆಂಬುದು ದೇವರು ಹಚ್ಚಿದ ಉಜ್ವಲ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಹೊಸ ದೀಪ. ದೇವರು ಹಚ್ಚಿದ ದೀಪದ ನೆನಪಿಗೆ ಉದಯಾಸ್ತಂಗಳ ವೇಳೆಯಲಿ. ದೇವರು ಹಚ್ಚಿದ ದೀಪದ ನೆನಪಿಗೆ ಉದಯಾಸ್ತಂಗಳ ವೇಳೆಯಲಿ. ದೀಪವನನು ದಿನ ಹಚ್ಚುತ್ತಲಿರುವುದು ಭಕ್ತಿಯ ನಿರ್ಮಲ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ. ದೀಪವನನು ದಿನ ಹಚ್ಚುತ್ತಲಿರುವುದು ನಿರ್ಮಲ ಭಕ್ತಿಯ ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ. ಜೀವನವೆಂಬುದು ದೇವರು ಹಚ್ಚಿದ ಉಜ್ವಲ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಹೊಸ ದೀಪ. ಜೀವನವೆಂಬುದು ದೇವರು ಹಚ್ಚಿದ ಉಜ್ವಲ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಹೊಸ ದೀಪ. ಉಜ್ವಲ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಹೊಸ ದೀಪ. ಉಜ್ವಲ ಬೆಳಕಿನ ಹೊಸ ದೀಪ.
Thank you, all the dignitaries. We are very pleased to state that in the very first year of inception, we have 15 states being represented in Chanakya University. So we are glad that They are from all across India, and we have brought light from all across India. Now we are waiting for a very important moment. Identified as a young genius for having completed all his school courses in mathematics and computer science by the age of 14, he is the second youngest full tenured professor at Princeton University. Presently, Brandon Pratt Professor of Mathematics at Princeton University and Straits Chair Professor of Number Theory at Leiden University, USA. He is a member of the prestigious US National Academy of Sciences. Apart from numerous other distinctions, he is a recipient of Fields Medal in Mathematics for developing powerful new methods in geometry of numbers. His works have enormously contributed to the development of applied mathematics. Calling himself an Indian at heart, he is a versatile genius with a scholarship in Sanskrit, accomplishments in playing tabla, and is a recipient of the honor Padma Bhushan. We are pleased to present and request the chief guest of the occasion, Professor Manjul Bhargava, to share his thoughts. Sir.
Namaskar. Thank you so much. Dr. Kasturi Ranganji, so many of my inspirations are on stage here. It feels very weird to be standing here. But Dr. Kasturi Ranganji, Chancellor Dr. Sridharji, Vice Chancellor Professor Dongreji, Pro-Chancellor Shri Kumarji, guests of honor, Minister of Higher Education, Shri Ashwath Narayanji, my mom in Bangalore, Dr. Sudhamurtiji, and of course, Dr. Sitaram Jindalji, and all the incredible members of the board. What an amazing group of people guiding this university, members of the board, advisory board, the faculty, staff, and students of Chanakya University, and of course, the incredible distinguished members of the audience. Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be, very exciting to be back in Bangalore. The last time I was here, 2-3 years ago, I remember I stayed here for about 1 year, working very hard on writing and helping pass the national education policy under the great leadership of Dr. Kasturi Ranganji. And it's just a joy to see that it was passed and now it's starting to be implemented here. So many of the members of the team that worked with Dr. Kasturi Ranganji are, of course, here. Thank you so much to all of you who contributed to that and for coming here today. So it's kind of going full circle, coming back to Bangalore after these couple of years to a university that's being launched that is committing to be the first university to be committing to implementing the national education policy in letter and spirit as it launches. Amazing. So that's a really exciting moment. I hope many universities will follow in this example. So just in brief, the national education policy worked very hard. We worked very hard to find the global best practices for what higher education should be. And in brief, that means that a higher education should be multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary. It should emphasize critical and analytical thinking so that students who are learning these multiple disciplines can see the connections between the disciplines, can use those connections for their own innovations, for thinking out of the box, and to create new knowledge. And being multidisciplinary and having that analytical thinking ability is the best way of innovating and the best way of moving the country forward. So the goal is to move away from the single stream institutions that had become prevalent during colonial India and then even after, where students were just learning one stream and only working in that one area, and so not being able to make those connections that are really needed across disciplines to make real progress. So this is the thrust of the national education policy, and it's wonderful to see Chanakya University moving forward with this vision. Some of the best universities in the world have used this vision in the past. Nalanda University is, in India's great past, an example of how multidisciplinary education produced some of the most incredible knowledge ever seen in the history of humanity. And now, in modern times, for example, the Ivy Leagues in the United States use this example of multidisciplinary, holistic, liberal education to really produce some of the most innovative and successful individuals in innovation and entrepreneurship and research. So that example is one that really needs to be brought back to India. India used to have it in universities such as Nalanda University. It's time to bring it back because that's really what's needed for India's future, for the global future, for students to have that 21st century skills of communication, of critical analysis, of multidisciplinary education. So I just want to give you one example from my own field of how multidisciplinary thinking and multidisciplinary education really move forward human progress. I want to tell you a little story about one of the greatest inventions that humanity has ever produced. Often one says, well, the wheel is one such invention. But there's another invention that kind of looks like the wheel and is one of the greatest inventions that we sometimes don't appreciate, but it kind of looks like the wheel. You know what I'm talking about? The zero. So the zero is actually one of those inventions that has really propelled humanity forward. And it's something we now take for granted. But what is the history of the zero? How did it come about? And how did it come into the numerals that we now use today that is now the basis for all computers and cell phones and all technology? How did that come to be? Many Indians often wear this T-shirt. Lots of young Indians wear this T-shirt that says, India's contribution to mathematics is zero. And there's sometimes a subtitle on that T-shirt that says, we always knew we were good for nothing. So lots of Indians are aware that zero is India's contribution, and that's a very important one. But most of the public is not aware of what exactly that means. What does that mean that India contributed zero, and what does it mean that it's an important discovery, and how exactly did it happen in India? I want to tell you a little bit about that story because it's quite incredible, and I think it really shows the power of multidisciplinary thinking. It also shows the power of understanding ancient Indian knowledge, just ancient Indian knowledge, understanding history of how knowledge came about. And it's a nice story because it did actually happen in India before it spread throughout the world. So how did the concept of zero start? It actually started in ancient Indian philosophy. The first place where we see the notion of zero is in ancient Indian philosophy. When the ancient texts, the Upanishads, and a lot of ancient Buddhist texts talked about the power of meditation. What was the goal of meditation? The goal of meditation was to achieve the state of shunyata, zeroness. The goal was to empty the mind of emotions, of feelings, of ego, of thoughts, so that one attained a certain mind-body connection. That was the goal of meditation. And that's where the word shunya was originally first used. Shunyata, the state of zeroness, what we're trying to achieve in meditation. And that goes back thousands of years. And that's where the notion of zero first really comes up in world literature. So there's sort of landmarks in the development of zero. First was the concept of zero, which came in ancient Indian philosophy, as I said, achieving zeroness through meditation. And the next big landmark was then taking that concept of zero and writing it as a symbol so that we have a symbol of zero. And the first place that the symbol of zero was written down was actually in works in linguistics. So Panini, who wrote one of the greatest grammatical works in history that really laid the foundations for modern linguistics, Panini wrote down a symbol for the empty syllable, a syllable where you don't say anything. And Panini considered that equal to any other letter, but it was just the void, emptiness. And Painini had a symbol for that called the avagraha. It looks like an S called the lopa. And in Painini's sutras, there are actually rules for manipulating syllables, including the empty syllable, which had its own symbol called the lopa or the avagraha. And so that was the first zero. It was a linguistic zero, a zero of speech, a zero of language. And that's the first time that the zero came up as a written symbol, and it came up in linguistics. And from linguistics, it moved on to poetry. When poets wrote poetry, if they needed an empty symbol in their rhythm, they used that symbol of zero, the S symbol called the avagraha. And then similarly now in music, when we notate music, if we have a rest when we're playing music, we use that symbol that Painini introduced called the lopa, the avagraha. And so from philosophy, the zero as a concept moved to zero as a symbol in poetry and linguistics. And so this is all before zero came into mathematics, but this was in the air in Indian philosophy and linguistics and poetry, the idea of zero. And it was only in about the year then 300 that mathematicians started to think, oh, well, we should also have a symbol for nothingness. And already we see in a manuscript known as the Bakshali manuscript, the first time that we see the Indian numerals as we write them today, 0 and 1 through 9, appearing just as we use them today, in the year about 300 in the Bakshali manuscript. And around that time, because the zero was in the air in literature and philosophy, zero as a number became adopted in the Indian subcontinent very quickly, even in the public consciousness. So for example, there's this great novel written in the 4th century called Vasavadatta, written by Subandhu, which is full of similes and metaphors about various objects that come across in the human experience. And there's one scene where they're looking up at the night sky. And at that time, the zero, the mathematical zero, when they wrote the numbers 0 through 9, 0 was written as a dot. It wasn't written as a circle. It was written as a dot. Because 0 was still just a placeholder. It wasn't considered a number in its own right. And so it was written just as a dot. And so in Vasavadatta, when they're looking at the night sky, it's described as 0 dots scattered across the sky. And this is a novel meant for the general public, and yet in it is being written, people are seeing mathematics in the sky, 0 dots scattered across the sky. So already in the public consciousness, people are starting to use the numbers 0 through 9 to write numbers in around the year 400. But it wasn't until Aryabhatta in around the year 499 where Aryabhatta started to do computations with the numbers 0 through 9. All the astronomical calculations were simplified by using the numbers 0 through 9 to write all numerals in the way that we now learn to compute with them today. So by around 499, with Aryabhatta's work, the numbers were now being used for computation, including the number 0. But still, 0 was not considered a number on its own. It was just a placeholder that we need to write the numerals in the Indian number system. But it was with the work of Brahmagupta in the year 628 where 0 was written about as if it's just a number like any other. To Brahmagupta, it was very important that 0 be appreciated, not just a placeholder, but as a number in itself. And so Brahmagupta writes these elaborate rules about 0 plus any number is that number itself, 0 times any number is 0. All the arithmetic operations that we now do with numbers, he explained, you can do with 0 as well. 0 is a number like any other. And that's where in human history is with Brahmagupta that 0 became a number just like any other number, not just a placeholder, but a number in its own right. That's the year 628 in India. The 0 was then traveled to the Arab world. Works of Al-Khwarizmi and Al-Kindi described the method of calculation with the Hindu numerals, is what they call it. That's what Al-Khwarizmi's book was called. And it was through Al-Khwarizmi's great work, building on the Hindu number system that he wrote about, that was then transferred to Europe. And in Europe, these numbers reached 0 through 9, reached in around the year 1100. But it's kind of amazing just to appreciate how not obvious it was that these numbers are so useful. It took several hundred years for Europe to adopt the numbers, and they were still using Roman numerals for a few hundred more years. Now you can imagine if you've used Roman numerals before, just so you can appreciate, because we just learned this in school, but we don't learn to appreciate how important these numbers, the way we write numerals are today, how important it really is. When people used Roman numerals to try to compute, imagine trying to compute with Roman numerals. Very, very difficult. Also, Roman numerals, each time you go to a higher number, you have to introduce a new symbol. What was amazing about the Indian number system is that just with the numbers 0 through 9, the numerals 0 through 9, you can write any number, however large or however small. And that's a very non-obvious thing, because the most obvious way to write numbers is to keep introducing a new symbol for higher and higher numbers. It's a very non-obvious concept that once you introduce 0, you only need 10 symbols to write any number you want, however large it is. And even just to appreciate that took several hundred years in Europe. And in fact, in Florence in the year 1299, when more and more scientists and merchants were starting to take up the Indian numeral system because of the ease of computation with them, they were banned by the Florence government because it was thought that maybe they come from Satan, they're coming from the Arab world. It has to be unholy. We have to stick with the Roman numerals. And so there was a law passed in Florence in 1299, 200 years after the Indian numerals entered Europe, to ban them, that we shouldn't be using these. And it wasn't until the Renaissance where it just became impossible to live without the Indian numerals if you want to do computations and make great scientific discoveries. And only about the Renaissance it was adapted in Europe for use in both trade and science. And once that happens, the rest is history. Great scientific achievements happened in the Renaissance in Europe, but the Indian numerals were the basis for a lot of that work. Since they learned it from the Arabs, the Europeans mistakenly called it the Arabic numerals, whereas the Arabs, of course, called the numbers Hindasa, the Hindu numerals. And now many times in India you see that over here we'll still call it the Arabic numerals because they went from here to Arabia, and then the Europeans call it the Arabic numerals, and now we copy Europe, and so we call them the Arabic numerals. But if you look at history, of course, they originated in India. They got developed further in the Arab world. It made its way to Europe, and now, after the European Renaissance, they're used worldwide. So that's in short the history of the 0 and how they're used in our everyday technology. And it's really hard to imagine how our world would have developed if we didn't have that invention. Every piece of technology now, the binary system that computers use, to cell phones, to all technology, really uses the 0 so foundational. Something we don't think about, but it really allowed us to move mathematics and science forward like almost maybe no other invention, I would say. So I like to tell that story because what's amazing about that story is not just, well, 0 is an incredible invention, but how it came about. It started in philosophy, right? It made its way to linguistics, then poetry, then music, and then to astronomy with Aryabhata, and then finally to mathematics, and then to computer science and technology. That's the lineage of the 0. And that's what really shows the importance of multidisciplinary education. If anything, that story that teaches that. So the idea that you can really borrow, you can borrow concepts from one discipline and develop them in another discipline is just one of the key important methods by which innovations are made. And that lesson is still important today. One thing we wrote in the National Education Policy is the story of Steve Jobs. So Steve Jobs was always complimented on how he transformed computing by marrying top-notch aesthetics with top-notch technology to make computing really accessible to the general person. And when he was asked how the Macintosh computer that that his company made revolutionized computing. He said, "I think part of what made the Macintosh great was that the people working on it were musicians and poets and artists and zoologists and historians who also happened to be the greatest computer scientists in the world." So this idea of having a multidisciplinary background and being able to draw ideas from aesthetics and science and art to work on whatever you're trying to propel forward, that's still applicable today. And some of the best companies make sure to hire multidisciplinary teams and multidisciplinary people. And some of the greatest inventors also in the modern day are those that had a multidisciplinary education, the kind that Chanakya University is trying to achieve. So that story of Zero and the story of Apple and all these multidisciplinary stories, we need more such stories. We need more such homegrown stories in India. It's time to move our higher education system in that direction again, like it was in the ancient times in Nalanda and how they are in the modern times at the greatest universities in the world. Chanakya University, I compliment them for moving forward on the recommendations of the National Education Policy. May it be a model for future new institutions and the institutions that are already there in India today. May it be a model to move towards that type of holistic multidisciplinary education. I'll stop there. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you for such inspiring words of wisdom. One of the co-founders of Infosys, he's been recognized as one of the top 50 thought leaders of modern times. A former head of CII and co-chair of WF at Davos, he is the founder of Accelor Ventures, encourage and invest in startups. A Padma Bhushan awardee and on the board of numerous industrial and academic bodies, he is a passionate leader and about conservation of Indian heritage. He is the chairman of Itihasa Research and Digital, publishing the history of Indian IT industry. Ladies and gentlemen, we come to have with us Sri Chris Gopalkrishnan, member of the Board of Governors of Chanakya University. Welcome you, sir.
Thank you. You know, when I look around this room, it's like a who is who in Bangalore. And this is what gives me the confidence to say that Chanakya University will be different, will take advantage of the opportunity provided by the National Education Policy 2020. We have, of course, many of the authors as part of this university now. But this opportunity to take advantage of NEP 2020 to create a new university built on ideals of ancient wisdom, but applied to modern world, modern problems of today and tomorrow. I strongly believe that we in India has an opportunity to give to the world a very different development model, a very different way to think about our future in a sustainable way, a affordable future, an equitable future. And that's what is part of the ideals of Chanakya University. And this cannot be, I believe, set up anywhere else other than in Bangalore. And this is what excites me. This is why I'm here with the
the leadership of Chanakya University as part of the Board of Governors. I'm fortunate and I'm thankful to them to include me as part of this leadership team. Now, this requires, you are all here today, and it's wonderful to see the auditorium packed, but it also requires your support in the future. Now, everybody can contribute in their own way, be it being an adjunct professor, a mentor to the students, spend a half a day talking to the students, supporting with small or big grants and donations. Everybody can support this in their own way. And this support, I believe, is very important to create a world-class institution and that's the key here. It's not for just today, tomorrow. It's not about our own lifetime, but it's of several generations. That's what Chanakya University should become with all of your support. Thank you for including me, and I wish Chanakya University the best, and let it become one of the best universities in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your kind words. We are fortunate to be greeted by numerous distinguished patrons from all across India on this occasion. We'd like to play a message from the Honorable Minister of Education, Sri Dharmendra Pradhan, on this occasion. He sent a message of greetings to Chanakya University on this occasion. Request the message to be played.
Namaskar. Several key architects of the National Education Policy 2020, including leading academicians, industrialists, and social reformers, have come together to build the Chanakya University in the true spirit of philanthropy inspired by Indian roots and knowledge system. It's a matter of unique privilege for Chanakya University to have a truly rich international advisory board led by none other than Dr. Kasturi Ranganji, under whose chairmanship the National Education Policy 2020 saw the dawn of the day. The presence of eminent personalities from different fields like Professor Bhushan Patwardhan, Srimati Kiran Majumdar Shaw, Srimati Sonal Mansingh, Sri Chandra Prakash Dwivedi, and others only adds to the prestige of this institution. Under the able leadership of Founder Chancellor Sri M.K. Sridhar, Founder Pro-Chancellor Sri M.P. Kumar, and Vice Chancellor Professor Yashwant Dongre, I am sure this university will play an instrumental role in leading the national transformation from the forefront as the countries aspire to fulfill the vision of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Sri Narendra Modi ji, as India strives to become Viksit Bharat by 2047. I wish Chanakya University resounding success in its journey towards achieving international standards, especially in preparing students to work successfully at the cutting edge of research in all fields. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
New university.
One of the doyens of Indian industry and presently the chairman and managing director of Jindal Aluminium Limited, Sri Sitaram Jindal, as the head of Jindal Foundation, is renowned for his pioneering philanthropy. Known for his innovative initiatives in social concern, the world-renowned Jindal Institute of Naturopathy, Sri Sitaram Jindalji, a patron of Chanakya University, is a guide on our path as a member of the Board of Governors. May we request you, sir, to please share your thoughts with us.
Namaskara. Thank you. Dear students, distinguished educationists, dignitaries, honorable members on the dais, ladies and gentlemen. At the outset, let me express briefly as to how God Almighty showered His grace to establish this university. For many years, I have been dreaming of establishing a dedicated university highlighting the Indian culture, traditional values, and Indian knowledge system. But unfortunately, we were unable to take any step forward due to the hurdles of very rigid and adverse national education policy prevailing at that time. However, suddenly I had the privilege of meeting with Sri Mukherjee, Joint General Secretary, RSS, in 2020, who informed that they have planned to establish such a university with truly Indian in spirit. He also revealed the new educational policy which fully meets with our ambition as announced by the current government. I was really very delighted and got a copy of the policy and studied the contents with satisfaction. Eventually, we decided to go ahead without any delay or hesitation. But our joint decision was to have unique university, not like other normal universities, which are many in number. There is no use for normal university. No fee will be charged from with a proposed modern infrastructure of 2 lakh square meters built up area, including academic building, residential facilities, and other common facilities. Students and faculty members will excel in their chosen field. It is heartening to note that the project is progressing very well and that the students have already been enrolled and academic program has started in a rented, well-established, well-furnished institution nearby, so that by next year, students can move to the newly constructed Chanakya University campus. I'm sure the students who are privileged to study in this prestigious university will develop skill and knowledge in effective functioning, both for the welfare of the society and the industry. I hope the students will be imparted with not only academic excellence, but also the virtues of our rich heritage, which is lacking presently due to commercialization of educational system. This unique temple of learning is being established and run by charitable trust with funds collected from public as donation, having no commercial angle and not for profit. This has been also mentioned by Sri MP Kumar very clearly. The management has plans to care for the low-income group by providing scholarship to such brilliant and deserving students. Besides, no fee will be charged from the students belonging to poor families to the extent possible. Since benevolent donors are expected to come forward and share the contribution substantially. This news about Chanakya University has reached other cities like Delhi, Bombay also, and the people are awakened now. They are willing to come forward. So, result has yet to be waited. More emphasis will be on quality and value-added education. As per plan, it is a long journey and much has to be done before reaching the destination, because philanthropy teaches service to humanity and not earning money. I congratulate the steering committee members, Professor M.K. Sridhar, Sri M.P. Kumar, and Nagraj Reddy for their untiring efforts in all-round planning and making Chanakya University a reality. I also wish the students a bright future, and I hope that Chanakya University will rise to the occasion and make the students not only excel in their chosen field, but also in humanitarian service. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. It's truly a humbling experience to be guided by such people of achievement and inspiration. Thank you again. An icon of contemporary India, she needs no introduction. A gold medalist in engineering and MTech, she heads the Infosys Foundation, which leads by example in social responsibility. Deeply involved in the causes of education, hygiene, housing, women, conservation of art and culture, and children, she is a prolific author by seeking to improve the joy of reading among children. Awarded with Padma Shri, among numerous others, she's been a guide in our journey. May I request Srimati Sudha Murthy to share her thoughts.
ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲಿರುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯರಿಗೆ ಸಭಿಕರಿಗೆ ನನ್ನ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. After listening to Manjul, it's very hard for anyone to speak because it's so good in everything, particularly introducing mathematics to common people. Actually, Manjul, I feel if you teach mathematics in Chanakya University, there is no interdiscipline at all. Everybody will take only mathematics. In my work, actually, I work in villages most of the time. ಹಳ್ಳಿಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕೂದಲ ನಂದು ಬೆಳ್ಳಗಾಯಿತು. ಅನೇಕರಿಗೆ ನಾ ಕೇಳ್ತೀನಿ, ಮೆನಿ ಚಿಲ್ಡ್ರನ್ ಐ ಆಸ್ಕ್ ವಿಚ್ ಇಸ್ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ ಡಿಫಿಕಲ್ಟ್ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. ದೇ ಸೇ ಮ್ಯಾಥಮೆಟಿಕ್ಸ್. Manjul, may I request you to have a course, a 5-credit course, how to teach mathematics with ease and with a joy. People should listen to that. This is my personal request to you. Swagrahe pujyate jeshtah, swagrame pujyate prabhu. Swagrame pujyate jeshtah, swagrame pujyate. Let me tell again. Swagrahe pujyate jeshtah, swagrame pujyate prabhu. Swadeshe pujyate raja, vidwan sarvatra pujyate. At home we respect the eldest one, even though elder person, because even though he has the knowledge or not, we touch his feet. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕು ಮುಂದೆ ಬೈತಾನೆ ಗಡ್ತಾನೆ ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಕಾಲು ಮುಟ್ಟಿ. ಸ್ವಗ್ರಾಮೇ ಪೂಜ್ಯತೆ ಪ್ರಭು. ಸರ್ಪಂಚಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಬೇಡಪ್ಪ ನಾಳೆ ಏನೋ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, we touch his feet also. When you are in a kingdom, you are scared of the king because the king can banish you. So we say, okay, ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂತೀವಿ. But the learned one like Manjul, Kasturi Rangan, wherever they go, they are always respected. Vidwan Sarvatra Pujyate, because they are respected for their knowledge. Their knowledge, and knowledge is supreme. Nothing is supreme in life because everything is Akshaya, not Akshaya, Akshaya. It says, a shloka says, what is permanent in life? If you are young, you will become old. If you have money in your life, you may lose it. If you have kingdom, you might lose it in a war. But which remains with you? It's the knowledge, and one who holds the knowledge is the richest man. It is not our billion or your billion or anybody's billion. It is the most important billionaires are sitting here, the Kasturi Rangan and Manjul Bhargav. Let the paper write anything, that's different, but I know in my heart of hearts. Okay? And what is this knowledge? It says, Nainam Chandan Shastrani, Nainam Dahati Pavaka. You cannot kill it, you cannot buy it, you cannot burn it, you cannot bury it. What it is? It is the love for learning makes you knowledgeable. And this is the concept of Chanakya University, if I have understood it well. Everyone says, when your hair is grey, when you have spectacles, when your skin is wrinkled, you are old. But I say, the day you stop learning new things, you are old. So I always feel I'm young at maybe about 16 years old. I always feel because I want to learn new things. We should remember that Krishna is the son of Devaki and Yashoda. And he's also Devaki Putra, Yashoda Nandana. Same way we should be Indians in real life. We should have a deep root about our and knowledge and appreciation about our culture, our history, and we should also learn the latest technology. It is not that they are two separate identity. You can have both. You can have both. They are collectively exhaustive. You should be there according to Manjul's definition. So the aim of Chanakya University, I consider that you should be deep rooted in your culture and you should aspire to know the latest technology that makes you a more balanced person. When you look at Chanakya's life, it's a very, very mesmerizing. A man, there's a debate, was he a South Indian, etc. I don't want to get into debate. He was a resident of Patna or Pataliputra, and he went and studied in Takshashila, which is in Pakistan today. In those days, BC, it is almost 200 BC probably, in Chandragupta Maurya's time, and there was no car, no vehicle. How hard it is. He went there, he became a professor, and he came back, and of course he built the first Magadha empire, the first empire of India. And then the beauty is not all that. When I read about Chanakya, and I have seen the Chanakya series as well, when Chandragupta Maurya becomes emperor, he says, you have brought me up, you are an emperor, now I am an emperor. Sir, you should be there to lead me into the, in my kingdom, in my difficulties. He says, you are a king, you should know how to rule. I am a scholar. For me, my dhana is always a vidya. And I seek vidya and teach vidya. Let me go back to my profession. And Chandragupta in tears waits there. And Chanakya takes his few books in his hand, walks from Pataliputra back to Takshashila without even turning back. That is called detachment. And this university should teach that you should achieve in life with a detachment. You should achieve fame with a detachment. You should achieve knowledge with a detachment. You should earn plenty of wealth for the benefit of the society, not for yourself, and detach from it and lead a simple life. That's what Chanakya taught. So I congratulate all the office bearers naming such a beautiful name for your great institute, which has a great value. Rigveda 1.89.1 stanza says, very beautiful stanza, Ano Badraha Krutuvo Yentu Vishwataha. Let all noble thoughts come from all directions so that I can improve every day. And that should be the motto of any education system. It is not that it's contained only in one compartment, second compartment. Oh, I'm an engineer, I can't learn Veena. I'm an engineer, I can't learn Kannada. I have seen people staying in Bangalore. Oh, we are not Kannadigas, we can't learn Kannada. I said, what a reason it is. You should keep your mind open. You can learn Kannada, you can learn Tamil, you can learn Sanskrit, any language, as long as your mind is open. If your mind is closed, you can't learn anything. You can't learn anything. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಮನಸ್ಸು ಮುಚ್ಚಿ ಹೋಗುತ್ತೋ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ವಿದ್ಯೆಯ ಪ್ರವೇಶವೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಮಲ್ಟಿ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಬಹಳ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು. ಪ್ರೊವೈಡೆಡ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಈಸ್ ಓಪನ್. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇಫ್ ಯು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, ಅವರ್ ಆನ್ಸಿಸ್ಟರ್ಸ್ ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಟಾಕ್ಡ್ ಅಬೌಟ್ ವಸುಧೈವ ಕುಟುಂಬಕಂ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಆನೋ ಭದ್ರಾಣಿ ಕೃತು ಎಂದು ವಿಶ್ವತಃ. Yes, the world becomes one only when you keep your mind open and try to learn and try to understand others and also mix with everybody. Then only the kutumba will be one. Otherwise, I will be in one. There are 8 directions. We'll have 80 directions. If you want to be one kutumba, then your mind should be open. And to make your mind open, you should have multidisciplinary system. I wish, I would have been a student now, because I always loved when I was in engineering, I should have another course where I will do archaeology. But in our college, they said, there is archaeology, do your civil, mechanical, electrical, etc. When I was doing my MTech with computer science, I felt I should always learn. I should always learn the history of coins, history of medicine, history of mathematics, history of everything. But Indian Institute of Science did not have such interdiscipline in those days. Now they may be having, I think our director is sitting here, Indian Institute of Science, you may be having now. But 50 years back, we did not have. Who says if your right brain is developed, left should not develop? Who says your left brain is developed, then right should not develop? It is all in our mind. When you have a porous system of education, then you can enter into any subject with porosity and learn, and you can be a more mature person. Actually, I have found out the best computer engineers are with a civil background, because the more structural knowledge makes them a better computer scientist. But Manjul says with the music background, maybe he's right. Just dreaming the dreams every day becomes a daydream or a dry dream. It does not have any value. If you go on working every day without even thinking the goal, you'll become a mere worker. If you really want to have a vision in life, you should dream and work towards that. And that's what I request our young Indians to do that. Dream big, but work towards that. I dream, I want to be a big person, but I don't work, then I will not achieve that. But if I do repetitive work without even thinking what is the result of that, outcome of that, then I will remain as a worker, I will never become a leader. So, if you want to have a good vision in life, you should have a dream, and you should also work very hard towards that. Then only it is possible. Any amount of funding, any amount of great teachers, any amount of facilities we give, if you don't have the urge to learn more, you will not achieve. An institute is made, or a college is made, or a university is made with 2 people. Number 1, a great teacher. That's the reason we say Acharya Devo Bhava in Kathopanishad, the 3rd person in our life. It is mother, the father, and then comes the Acharya or the teacher. The best teacher and the hungry student makes the university. Apart from all your infrastructure, these are the very 2 important. I will request Chanakya University first to concentrate on great teachers who love to teach, and hungry students who love to learn all the time. They have to concentrate on that first, and then the remaining thing. This is my personal opinion. My grandfather was a school teacher, and we are in a village. Every day, he will sit in the courtyard, people will come, master, they will talk, touch his feet. And I was an 8-year-old girl. He was a Sanskrit scholar. I asked him, Aja, tell me, you are not a rich man. You are not a powerful man. He was a retired school teacher. Why everybody touches your feet? What's great about that? He said, na dhanyam, na kanakam, na yavanam. I said, Aja, you go on telling me, no. Tell me what is yes. He said, in life, nothing is permanent. which is only thing permanent is which the knowledge, and knowledge has a very peculiar trend. It says, the more you give, the more rich you be. The more you give, none of them are true. If I have 100 kg gold, if I want go on giving 1 kg gold, in 100 days I will finish it. But if I have a knowledge, and if I give away to many people, I'll be a better and better teacher, and I will be the greatest teacher. And the greatest teacher is most knowledgeable. That's the reason a teacher is respected. And this is not his stanza, it is given in Mahabharata, because somebody asked Acharya Drona, oh, you are a poor man, look at Arjuna. He is Kiriti, he is Dhananjaya, he is the greatest warrior, he is very powerful, very handsome. Why does he sit below your feet? That time Drona says, a teacher is the most respected because a teacher is the richest man on the universe because he is knowledgeable. And keep that tradition of respecting the teachers, respecting the knowledge, respecting the elders, respecting the values, and also attaining technical advantage to the society, earning money legally, ethically right, and pouring back to the society. Then I feel we have, Chanakya University has achieved goal. And I'm sure you all illustrious board members like my friend Kiran Majumdar, Mohan Das Pai, and we do require a person like Mohan Das Pai who will push, and without pushing things don't work. We are adjust ಮಾಡಿ people, always adjust ಮಾಡಿ ಇದ್ಬಿಡೋಣ ಅಂತ ಪುಷಿಂಗ್ ಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ ನಮಗೆ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಒಂದು ಸೌಭಾಗ್ಯದ ಬಾಗಿಲು, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ಸಮೃದ್ಧಿಯ ಬಾಗಿಲು, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಯಾವಾಗಲೂ ವಿದ್ಯೆಯ ಬಾಗಿಲು, ವಿದ್ಯೆಯ ಬಾಗಿಲು. ಧನವಂತರಾದ ಅನೇಕ ಜನರು ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವ್ರು ಕೂತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದಾಯಿತು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವರಿಗೆ ಒಂದು ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಹೇಳಿ ಬಯಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಅವತ್ತಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಲಾರ್ಡ್ ಕರ್ಜನ್ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತಾನೆ ಅವನು, ಇಂಡಿಯಾದಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಇವರು ಇಷ್ಟೇ ಬರೀ SSLC ಅವರು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕ್ಲರ್ಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಇದು ಬಿಡ್ಲಿ ಅಂತಾನೆ. ಅವಾಗ ಜಮ್ಶೆಡ್ಜಿ ಟಾಟಾ in 1896 says, no, we require a university. That time he says, where do you have money? British people talked, where do you have money? Where do you have teachers? Where do you have land? You don't have anything. That time, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದ ರತ್ನ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನವನ್ನು ಏರಿದ ಮಹಾರಾಜರು 300 ಎಕರೆ ತಮ್ಮದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ಜಮೀನನ್ನು ಅವರು ಫ್ರೀಯಾಗಿದ್ದೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದೇ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ಇಂಡಿಯನ್ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಿಟ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್. ಅದರ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ನನಗೆ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಇದೆ, ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರತ್ನ ಸಿಂಹಾಸನದ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳಾದ ಮೈಸೂರಿನ ಒಡೆಯರಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಜನ್ಮಾಂತರಕ್ಕೂ ಕೃತಜ್ಞರಾಗಿರಬೇಕು. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಆ ಜಮೀನನ್ನು ಅವರು ಉಚಿತವಾಗಿ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಜಮ್ಶೆಡ್ಜಿ ಟಾಟಾ makes his will in 1896. He says, yes, we have land from Maharaja of Mysore, but we require money to build the institute. And I will write my will into 3 parts. First one to Sir Dorab Tata, his eldest son. Second is Sir Ratan Tata, not the today's Ratan Tata, but that Ratan Tata is second son. Third one is Indian Institute of Science. What a great philanthropist like Jamshedji Tata, who considered Indian Institute of Science as the third child, and he gave, I remember even there, 15 houses he has given to Indian Institute of Science out of 45 houses he owned in Bombay. Even today, you go and check in Indian Science, sir, you have 15 houses on Jamshedji's will houses. So, a great philanthropist, a great kings, great teachers. Now today there are no great kings, great Sarkara, great people like Yadurappa and Ashwatha Narayana who are helping, and good teachers, a good management. I'm so sure our Chanakya University will do exceedingly well, and we should say, is none less than any Western university. It should be the Harvard of India, and it should be the best in the world. Thank you very much. Jai Karnataka, Jai Hind.
Always an inspiration, ma'am. You have so many fan followers here in this audience. A researcher turned entrepreneur, she pioneered the biotechnology revolution in India and has been an inspiration for the new generation of women entrepreneurs. A thought leader, youth icon, and mentor, as the founder of Biocon, Dr. Kiran Mazumdar Shahji has set an example for corporate excellence and social responsibility. May I request Dr. Kiran Mazumdar Shah member of the International Advisory Committee, to share your thoughts with us, ma'am.
ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಉದ್ಘಾಟನೆಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. I just want to start by referring to the ideal of Chanakya University, which is Jnana, Ichha and Vidya. And if you think about this, it is really about the quest for knowledge, the spirit of inquiry, and of course, application of knowledge for social impact. These are the ideals of Chanakya University, which I find extremely inspiring and extremely compelling. What is also very important, just heard from everyone before me, that Chanakya University ideologies are rooted in the Indian knowledge system. And I really think what is important for all of us to understand is that the Indian knowledge system relies on analytical, critical, and of course, multidimensional thinking. And I think this is what actually leads to sustainable solutions, which is what is so critical, not just for our country, but for the world. I'm extremely privileged to be part of the advisory council for this great university. And I think all of us realize that creating this university is to make sure that we find huge philanthropic capital. And I myself have committed my own little philanthropy to this great university. But I think we need everyone to contribute towards this philanthropic capital, because it is philanthropy that creates the right kind of knowledge to become the knowledge capital, not just of our country, but of the world. I think you've heard from everyone that knowledge is paramount in terms of economic success. And I think what we as a city are blessed with are great educational institutes. And we are adding one more great educational institute, which adds to the knowledge profile of Bengaluru. And I think creating Bengaluru as not just the science capital, but as the knowledge capital of the country is going to be extremely, extremely proud for all of us. And in order to create this knowledge capital, one thing we've discussed at the advisory meeting this afternoon was that we need both experimental and experiential learning to be what drives this learning at Chanakya University. And I think we are going to be extremely focused on ensuring that we create this kind of knowledge hub in the city so that anyone who goes through the portals of Chanakya University will come out a much better human being. So with that, I would like to wish the university every success in creating a great university of the future. I think we need to create knowledge as a blend of the old and the new. And I think India has to basically remember the great knowledge that it created for the world in the past. We need to take those blessings from our ancestors and continue with that tradition and add to it in terms of modern knowledge and keep going. So with that, I'd like to wish Chanakya University every success, and I look forward to being very much a part of this journey. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We're so honored by your words. One of the most influential thought leaders of contemporary India, he is a multifaceted genius with expertise on a range of subjects, including finance, education, human resource, governance, and of course, IT. An award-winning CFO of Infosys for over 17 years, he is presently the head of Manipal Global Education, members of numerous expert committees of the Government of India, He is the founder trustee of the noble initiative Akshay Patra of the ISKCON, a startup mentor, angel investor, youth icon, and member of the board of governors of Chanakya University. May I request you to please share your thoughts.
ಮಾಜಿ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾದ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪ ಅವರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದಾನೇ ನಮಗೆ ಜಮೀನು ಸಿಕ್ತು. ಆ ಜಮೀನಿಂದ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಮುಂದೆ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಸೀತಾರಾಮ್ ಜಿಂದಲ್ ಅವರೇ, ನಿಮ್ಮಿಂದಾನೇ ನಮಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಸಹಾಯ ಸಿಕ್ತು. ಆ ಸಹಾಯದಿಂದ ಇವಾಗ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. MP ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರೇ, ನೀವೇ ನಮಗೆ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಕೊಟ್ರಿ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಕ್ರಿಸ್ ಗೋಪಾಲಕೃಷ್ಣನ್ ಅವರೇ, ನೀವು ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ. ಕಿರಣ್ ಮಜುಮ್ದಾರ್ ಶಾ, ಸುಧಾಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರೇ, ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಸಹಾಯದಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ನಮ್ಮೂರಲ್ಲಿ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಮುಂದೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು, ಏನಾಗಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ ಚಾಣಕ್ಯದ ಜೀವನ ನಾವು ನೋಡಬೇಕು. Here was a scholar, son of a scholar, who got his education from his father, and his father was probably imprisoned. He went to the university Takshila and came back. And when he came back, he found the people were oppressed by Dhanananda, the king of Pataliputra. He went to his court and told Dhanananda, "Oh Dhanananda, you are not the master of people, you are the servant of the people. You must have the duties of the king and you can't be an oppressor." And Dhanananda, like the insolent emperor he was, pushed him out and he told him, "I will come back one day and teach you how to rule a country. Because you're the inheritor of Indian civilization, which placed the scholar at the top of the totem pole." Our forefathers told us the greatest thing for any human being is knowledge, the pursuit of knowledge, the discovery of who you are, to find out why you are on this earth, and to live a full life, to have a curious mind. Because that's the greatest of pleasure. The greatest of pleasure is finding out zero, shunya. And that is the great pleasure. It is not money, it is not wealth, it is not bangla, it is not anything else. It is the pursuit of knowledge. And that is what our forefathers said. And that's why we respect the scholar the most, and we respect Chanakya. And see what Chanakya did. He pulled down a very oppressive emperor. He took a young lad and taught him how to be one of the greatest kings and the first great emperor of this country. And he made him fight to kick out the Yuvanas who had come from Greece and build this great empire. And like Sudhamurthy said, when his task was over, he said, "I'll go back to being a scholar. That is my duty to my country." And he gave us the Arthashastra, Chanakya Niti, the first great economic thesis on how to run a country, the duty of the king, how the duty of the people, the rule of law, all the things that make for a great society. It is there in that book. It's the first great book of human civilization which talks about everything, and that is from this great country. And that should be the guiding principle. And that's why when they name the university as Chanakya, we are so happy, because Chanakya epitomizes all that is best about Indian civilization, all that India hopes to achieve, and all that we should give to this world. And that's why this university is important. So all of us are engaged in a great adventure of building a great university which will outlast all of us. And when we talk to Chris, when we talk to Dr. Kasturangan, Dr. Sridhar, Sitaram Jindal, Sudhamurthy, they're filled with excitement. And it can only happen in Bangalore, in a beautiful city of Bangalore. I remember I once criticized Maji Mukhyamantri Yediyurappa ji. He took up the phone and called me. The DGP intelligence called me, said, "CM wants to talk." I said, "Nang bhaya aaytu, yenappa idu CM maataಡ್ತಾರೆ." Or Mohan, yenappa aaytu, bandmi sikku nange. I went to his house. I complained to him. He listened to me. He said, "Adu martini." Where do you get leaders like this? In any city in India, you criticize the chief minister, they'll put you in jail. They'll send the Gudans to do gero to you. They'll beat you up, and everybody is scared. This is the land where there is no fear. And if you stand up and criticize our chief minister, he'll call you for a cup of tea in the afternoon. Can you believe that? That's why, because this is the blessed land. This is the city of Bangalore. 100,000 PhDs. This is a city where we have many, many billionaires all over the street. Every week one new billionaire comes up. But who gets the greatest respect? A Kasturi Ranga, a Dr. Sridhar, a Sudha Murthy, a Kiran Mazumdar Shah. She's also a billionaire, but we respect her, you know. And everybody else. And they get the respect because we worship them. Because we believe they are the people we have to emulate and we have to do. And that's why Chanakya University is extremely important to all of us. It epitomizes the future, the Amrit Kal that Prime Minister Modi talks about. And in the 75th year of our freedom and the creation of this great new country, the future should be with Chanakya University, just like the Indian Institute of Science built the last 100 years for us. And Chanakya University, the multidisciplinary university, should invite students from all over India to come and discover themselves, discover their future, to come and argue with the professors, stand up before the professor, debate, discover new knowledge, and go back and build this country and become scholars of repute for India and the world. That's the dream. But as Chris Gopalkrishnan, Kiran, and others said, this university belongs to all of you. People in this audience, Bengaloreans, Kannadigas, it belongs to you. You must come and support it. You must come and give to this university whatever you have to build it up. Our students should have the best teachers. They must be paid well. They must have the best facilities. But you must come and give because it is your legacy. It is your university. You must come and participate. You must come and feel the joy of building this university because these universities like this that build a country and our civilization. And Yedurappa ji has done everything he can when the chief minister gave this land. Everybody opposed him. He knows that. He just said, Tumneri. And he gave us the land. And he got it passed. A bold man. It takes courage. It takes vision. And he did it. And that's why all of us support. I want to end by appealing to all of you. Treat this as your university, your institution, and later your gift to humanity, your gift to your children, to all Kannadigas and all Indians, so this can flourish. And I promise you, on behalf of Dr. Kasturi Rangan, Chancellor M.K. Sridhar, Pro-Chancellor M.P. Kumar, on their behalf, I promise you, they will do their best. They'll work 24/7, 365 days to make it a really world-class university, which we will be proud, and our children will be proud to come and get educated, and we will build the new India. Thank you.
MDP stands for Management Development Program. Every time we interact with MDP, sir, it's an MDP. Sir, thank you. It's such a joy to listen to you. On the note of imitating people, with the consent of the President and the guests, may I acknowledge the presence of one of the heroes of modern times. We are pleased to have Major Pradeep Shaurya Arya, the only bureaucrat to have won the Shaurya Chakra in contemporary India. A para-commando as a part of the territorial army, he single-handedly has killed 3 terrorists in a hand-to-hand combat. We are pleased to have you, sir. Now, we are pleased to present to you a message from the Honorable Chairman of University Grants Commission, Professor M. Jagdish Kumar.
The birth of any new university brings excitement and hope because a new university doesn't have any past baggage. Today's youth, they would like to be effective learners, lifelong learners. They want to be problem solvers, solution providers, and learn from the failures. If the university has to fulfill all these aspirations, it is very important that the university, particularly a new university, doesn't follow the traditional path. Instead, come up with innovative programs and provide as much flexibility as possible so that they become creative thinkers and innovators. I would like to congratulate the Chanakya University for the kind of programs that they are planning to launch. I wish all the best for the growth of Chanakya University.
We thank the Honorable Chairman, UGC, a leader from student days and an MBBS graduate from the famed Kasturba Medical College, Manipal. He is a recipient of Dr. B.C. Roy Award from the Indian Medical Association and founder, managing trustee of Padma Shri Charitable Trust and Sushruta Group of Institutions. Having joined politics early, he's been a member of Karnataka Legislative Assembly multiple times. Known for his leadership and innovative governance, his efforts at the implementation of NEP has drawn nationwide appreciation. May we request the Honorable Minister for Education, Government of Karnataka, and the Pro-Visitor of Chanakya University, Dr. C.N. Ashwath Narayana, to kindly address the gathering.
ಎಲ್ಲ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಗೌರವಾನ್ವಿತ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳೇ, ಗಣ್ಯಮಾನ್ಯರೇ, ಈ ದಿನ ಬಹಳ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ದಿನ, ಐತಿಹಾಸಿಕವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ದಿನ. ಔಪಚಾರಿಕವಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಭರವಸೆಯ ನಮ್ಮತನ ಪೂರ್ವಕವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭೋತ್ಸವ ಔಪಚಾರಿಕವಾಗಿ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗ್ತಿರುವಂಥ ಇಂಥ ಪವಿತ್ರವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯಮಾನ್ಯರೇ, ವೇದಿಕೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಆಸನರಾಗಿರುವ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಾಧಕರ ಸಂಗಮ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ತಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಉದ್ದೇಶಿಸಿ ಮಾತಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅವ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಏನು ಹೇಳೋಂಥದ್ದು ಏನಿಲ್ಲ. ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬರು ತಮ್ಮ ಸಾಧನೆಯ ಮೂಲಕ ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೆ ಭಾಳ ಉತ್ತಮವಾಗಿ ಕೊಡುಗೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥವ್ರು. ಇಂಥ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯವನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರ ಒಂದು ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರು ಸಕ್ರಿಯವಾಗಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ತಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು, ಎಲ್ಲ ಶಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಒಗ್ಗೂಡಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯವನ್ನು ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಡಿಗೆ ನಿಜಕ್ಕೂ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಭರವಸೆ, ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ವಿಶೇಷವಾಗಿ 21ನೇ ಶತಮಾನ, ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿರುವಂಥ ವಿಚಾರ, ಜ್ಞಾನ ಆಧಾರಿತವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ಶತಮಾನ ಮತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಥಿಕ ವ್ಯವಸ್ಥೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಅನ್ನುವಂಥದ್ದು ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿರುವಂಥ ವಿಚಾರ. ಆದರೆ ಕೆಲವ್ರಿಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ, ತುಂಬ ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ಜ್ಞಾನಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅತಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಒತ್ತನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ಈ ಒತ್ತನ್ನು ಕೊಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೂ ಸಾಲಲ್ಲ. ಇಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಎಷ್ಟು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೂ ಸಾಲಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ನಾವೇ ಸವಾಲು ಹಾಕ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂಥದ್ದು. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಆವಿಷ್ಕಾರ ಮತ್ತು ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯ ಒಂದು ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ, ಒಂದು ಹಿನ್ನೆಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆಗಳನ್ನು ಮುಂದೆ ಹಾಕಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ. ನಾವು ಭಾಳ ಹಿಂದೆ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಅನ್ಕೋಬೋದು ಭಾಳ ನಾವು ಮುಂದೆ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ, ಖಂಡಿತ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಸತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಯಾವಾಗ ನಾವು ಅರ್ಥಕೋತೀವೋ, ಈ ಸತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಅರ್ಥಕೊಂಡು ಏನನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆಯದು ಅಂತ ಅರಿವಿನಿಂದ ನಾವು ಹೆಜ್ಜೆ ಮುಂದೆ ಹಾಕೋದು ಭಾಳ ಮುಖ್ಯವಾಗಿದೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮಗೆ ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಹೇಗೆ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಏನನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು, ಹೇಗೆ ಮನಸ್ಸಿದ್ರೆ ಮಾರ್ಗ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಸಾಕ್ಷಿನೇ ಇವತ್ತು ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇದೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಆಯ್ತಪ್ಪ ಅನ್ನೋದಲ್ಲ. ಈ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯ ಒಂಥರ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭದಿಂದ ನನಗೂ ಒಂಚೂರು ಭಾಗವಹಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿತ್ತು. ಒಂದೆಲ್ಲ ಹಂತದಲ್ಲೂ ನಾನು ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದ್ದೆ. ನನಗೂ ಭಾಳ ಸಂತೋಷ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ನನಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾನು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದುಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾನು ಉನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಚಿವನಾಗ್ತೀನಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿರಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ನನ್ನ ಭಾಗ್ಯ, ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುವಂಥದ್ದು ನನ್ನ ಜೀವನದ ಒಂದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ಭಾಗ್ಯ. ಯಾಕೆಂದರೆ ಇವತ್ತೇನಾದ್ರು ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಸದೃಢರು, ನಾವು ಉತ್ತಮರು, ನಾವು ಸಾಧಕರು ಅಂತ ನಾವೇನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಈಗೆಲ್ಲ ಹಿರಿಯರು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಜ್ಞಾನ 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 ಯಾರ ಹತ್ರ ಇದೆಯೋ ಅವರೇ ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾಯಕರು, ವಿಶ್ವಕ್ಕೆ ನಾಯಕತ್ವವನ್ನು ಮತ್ತು ಸಮಾಜಕ್ಕೂ ಸದೃಢತೆಯನ್ನು ಕೊಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಗಿರುತ್ತೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಬೇರೆ ಏನೇನೋ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಆಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಏನೇನೋ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡು ನಾವೇನೋ ಅನ್ಕೊಂಡು ಕೂತಿದ್ರೆ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲೂ ಲೆಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೂ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ಸತ್ಯವನ್ನು ಅರಿತುಕೊಂಡು ನಾವು ಮುಂದೆ ಸಾಗುವಂಥದ್ದಾಗಬೇಕು. ಇವತ್ತು ಸಮಯದ ಮಿತಿ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ನಾನು ಇನ್ನು ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ, ಒಂದೆರಡು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿ ಮುಗಿಸ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣವನ್ನು ಯಾವ ದಾರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು ಬಹಳ ಪ್ರಮುಖವಾದಂಥ ವಿಚಾರ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಸಂಸ್ಥೆ ಇದೆ, ಯಾರು ಓದಬೇಕು ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶ ಇದೆ. ಆದರೆ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ? ಸಂಖ್ಯೆನ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟನ? ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆನೂ ಬೇಕು, ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟನೂ ಬೇಕು. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಸಂಖ್ಯೆ ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟ ಕೈ ಬಿಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ಭಾಳ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯಿಂದ ನನ್ನ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದ ಅಲ್ಪ ತಿಳುವಳಿಕೆನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡೋದು, ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಿ ಸ್ವಾತಂತ್ರ್ಯ ಬಂದ ನಂತರ ಒಂದು ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಭರವಸೆಯ ನಿಜವಾದ ಒಂದು ಸುಧಾರಣೆ, ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಅಂತ ಬಂದಿರೋದೇ ನಮ್ಮ 3ನೇ ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನೀತಿ ಅಂತ ಭಾಳ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಜನನಾಯಕರು, ನಮ್ಮ ಸನ್ಮಾನ್ಯ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾದಂಥ ನರೇಂದ್ರ ಮೋದಿಯವರು ಈ ವಿಚಾರದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆಯನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಈ ಗಣ್ಯಮಾನ್ಯರು ಇವತ್ತೇನು ಡ್ರಾಫ್ಟನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ಆಥರ್ಗಳು ಇವತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಮಂಜುಳ್ ಭಾರ್ಗವರಾಗಲಿ, ಅಮೇರಿಕದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರೂ ಸಹ ನಮ್ಮ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ರಂಗನ್ ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಸದಾ ಸಂಪರ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಂಥ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿ. ನನಗೆ ಮಂಜುಳ್ ಭಾರ್ಗವ್ರನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತು ಖುದ್ದಾಗಿ ಮೀಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿರುವಂಥ ಮೊದಲನೇ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ. ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಹೇಗೆ ಶಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಉದಾಹರಣೆ ಇವತ್ತೇನು ಅವ್ರು ಹೇಳಲೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಂಜುಳ್ ಭಾರ್ಗವರು. ನನಗೂ ಇನ್ನೂ ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ನಾನು ಐ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಸ್ಪೆಲ್ ಇಟ್. ಎಸ್, ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟೆಡ್ ಇನ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಬಿಗ್ ವೇ ಫಾರ್ ಡ್ರಾಫ್ಟಿಂಗ್ ಆಫ್ ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕಸ್ತೂರಿ ರಂಗನ್. ನಮ್ಮ MK ಶ್ರೀಧರ್ ಅವರು ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಆಗ್ತಿರೋದು ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಭಾಗ್ಯ. ಹಾಗೆ ಪ್ರೋ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ಕುಮಾರ್ ಅವರು ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ಒಂದು ರಾಷ್ಟ್ರೀಯ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನೀತಿಯನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸಂಪೂರ್ಣವಾಗಿ ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನಕ್ಕೆ ತರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಭಾಳಷ್ಟು ಹೆಮ್ಮೆಯಿಂದ ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟ ಸಂದೇಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರುವಂಥ ಮೊದಲೇ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದು ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ಹೇಳಕ್ಕೆ ಇಷ್ಟಪಡ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನ ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ, ಆದರೆ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಸಂದೇಶ ಕೊಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಯಾರು ಮುಂದೆ ಇರಲ್ಲ. ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟತೆ ಹೇಳೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದಾಗ ಭಾಳ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ನಾವು ಏನು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ಕಾರ್ಯರೂಪಕ್ಕೆ ತರ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾವ ರೀತಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವನ್ನು ಬದಲಾಯಿಸ್ತೀವಿ. ನಾವು ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲೇ ಯಾರಿಗಿಂತನೂ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಗುಣಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋಂಥ ಸಂದೇಶ ಎಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನಾವು ಕೊಡೋಲ್ಲ, ಅಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ನಮಗೆ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಭಾಳ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವದ ದರ್ಜೆಯ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ನಾವು ಕೊಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅನ್ನೋಂಥ ಸಂದೇಶ ಕೊಟ್ಟಾಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಾವು ಇದಕ್ಕೂ ನಿಜಕ್ಕೂ ನಮ್ಮ ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲೇ ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸ್ಥಾನಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವೇನು ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲೇ ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಗುರಿಯನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವೋ, ಇವತ್ತು ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಆಗಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇಡೀ ವಿಶ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಂಬರ್ 1 ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಇದು ಒಂದೇ ದಾರಿ, ಬೇರೆ ಇನ್ಯಾವ ದಾರಿನೂ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸಮಾನತೆ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸಮಾನತೆ ಪಡಿಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣನೇ. ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೂಸಿವ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು, ಈಕ್ವಿಟಬಲ್ ಆಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಏನು ಬಯಸ್ತೀವೋ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದ ಮೂಲಕನೇ ಪಡಿಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾರು ಇದನ್ನು ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ನಾವು ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನವನ್ನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವೋ ಆಗ ಮಾತ್ರ ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಡಿಗೆ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಈ ದಿಕ್ಕಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯ ಸರ್ಕಾರ, ನಮ್ಮ ನಿಕಟಪೂರ್ವ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಗಳಾದಂಥ ಯಡಿಯೂರಪ್ಪನವರು ಭಾಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಇಡೀ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಪ್ರಥಮವಾಗಿ ಇದನ್ನು ಅನುಷ್ಠಾನ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವರ ನಾಯಕತ್ವದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಹೆಮ್ಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಖಂಡಿತ ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಡಿನ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಖಂಡಿತ ಬದಲಾವಣೆ ಆಗೇ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಮುಂದಿನ 25 ವರ್ಷ ಕಾಲ ಏನು ಅಮೃತ ಕಾಲ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಧಾನಮಂತ್ರಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಈ 25 ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಹಾಕಿರುವಂಥ ಬುನಾದಿ ನಮ್ಮ ನಾಡನ್ನು ಇನ್ನೂ ಎತ್ತರಕ್ಕೆ ಕೊಂಡೊಯ್ಯೋದು ಖಂಡಿತ ಶತಸಿದ್ಧ, ಖಂಡಿತ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ವಿಶ್ವಾಸವನ್ನು ಕೊಟ್ಟು ನಾನು 2 ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅವಕಾಶವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಕೊಟ್ಟಂಥ ಸಮಸ್ತರಿಗೆ ವಂದಿಸಿ, ಪ್ರಾರಂಭದಿಂದನೂ ನೋಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದೆ. ಏನೊಂದು ಆಧಾರದ ಸ್ವಾಗತ, ಒಂದು ಭಾವನೆಗಳು ನೋಡಿದಾಗ ನಿಜಕ್ಕೂ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಯಿತು. ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ ಒಂದು ವಿದ್ಯುತ್ವಾಗಿ ಎಲ್ಲರ ಭಾವನೆಯ ಪೂರಕವಾಗಿದೆ. ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ಪೀಪಲ್ಸ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಸೇರಿ ಹಣವನ್ನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕು, ಕಾಂಟ್ರಿಬ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ನಮ್ಮ ಭವಿಷ್ಯನ ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾರು ಅವ್ರ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೊಳಕ್ ಕೂತಿಲ್ಲ, ಅವ್ರು ಆಲೇ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಇವ್ರು ಯಾರಿಗೂ ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವನ್ನು ರೂಪಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಾದರೆ ಈ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಹಕಾರ ಕೊಡಬೇಕು. ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳ ಮೂಲಕನೇ ನಮ್ಮ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಕಾಣಲಿಕ್ಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟು ಆಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದಕ್ಕೆ ಭವಿಷ್ಯ ಕಾಣಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಭವಿಷ್ಯವನ್ನು ವಿದ್ಯಾಸಂಸ್ಥೆಗಳ ಮೂಲಕ ಮಾತ್ರ ಕಾಣಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿದೆ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಮತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಒಳ್ಳೆ ಸಂದೇಶ ಇವತ್ತು ಸಿಕ್ಕಿರುವಂಥದ್ದನ್ನ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಮುಂದೆ ತಗೊಂಡೋಗೋಣ ಅಂತ ತಿಳಿಸಿ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ಜೈ ಹಿಂದ್, ಜೈ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words of encouragement. We are very happy to place on record that for the first year of academics at Chanakya University, we have students representations from 15 states, and I'm sure global is not far away for us. One of the most distinguished and decorated scientists of modern India, Professor Kasturi Ranganji, leads a legacy of over 5 decades in ISRO. Having occupied leadership positions at major science and technology, research and academic establishments, he is a member of numerous society and experts committees, including UN Center for Space, Science, Technology, Education in Asia and Pacific, Chairman, International Committee on Earth Observation Satellites, among others. One of Sir's greatest and most contemporary contribution has been as the head of the Committee of the National Education Policy, which seeks to reorient India's education system and inspires Chanakya's philosophy of rooted in ideals and ascending with ideas. It's an honor to have Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan and Padma Vibhushan Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan sir with us as the chairman of the Board of Governors of Chanakya University, and may we request you, sir, to please share your wisdom.
First of all, I don't know what to say after hearing such fantastic expression of expectations, aspirations, and excitement. People like Professor Manjul Bhargav is always way ahead of many of us in terms of thinking, ideas, innovations, problem solving, and whatnot. If you want to speak about the human talent and the ability which spreads across the various facets of human activity, I think the good symbol I can give is he is such an extraordinary brain that it was nice that India tapped him, used him, and made sure that his inputs, ideas, and all other things for which he has the asset which is very, very, very rare in many of the human beings were fully taken care of. If you talk of NEP and the success of NEP, I owe quite a lot to Manju. And that too working in a place, US, and working on a 24/7, that means we can sleep and work, but he works and works. That's how it turned out to be. We had heard Srimati Sudha Murthy on her extraordinary ideas. You know, she is the one who really showed the relation between the ancient India, the language of Sanskrit, and the words of wisdom that the Sanskrit, whether it is Subhashidani or many other kinds of things, she just quoted so easily, connected it with the kind of education that they implied in the ancient India, and then brought it back to the Chanakya University and saw how relevant it is today. And she gave it with beautiful examples. So this is another kind of a thing that we heard today. And then you have, of course, people like Kiran, Mazumdar, Mohan, and others. So they are people who look far ahead. They could not have made the systems that they built for this country, but for what they are. So it was such a kind of a thing. Of course, we have here Chris, and we have here the Dongre, and
and my own friend, a time-tested friend, all-weather friend, Dr. Sridhar, who is now the Chancellor, and the Minister with whom I worked in the recent past with regard to the national education policy. He has taken all of our expectations, he has overtaken all our expectations, I should say, with respect to many things that he has done in Karnataka in moving the NEP. And I cannot also forget Yedyurapaji. He's the person, I have approached him for many things when he was the Chief Minister. He made me the chairman of the Karnataka Knowledge Commission. But most importantly, I should say, I went to get a place like you got the place for the university to the International Center for Theatrical Studies. And he immediately brought the map of Bangalore, the location, and he showed me, now you find out where you want it. And then I showed that this looks to be very attractive. He called his engineer and told, please mark this immediately and process the paper and put it to me immediately, I'll get it. And they got it. Within days they got it. And when I heard about the story of the Chanakya University and the generosity, the understanding with which he gave it, there's only one thing that is running common thread about his decision making. The decision making is based on who approaches him, how trustworthy he is, and if he takes the chance of not going into all details, which is needed as a government organization, can he trust it so that it will never become an issue? And I think all his good decisions that he has taken, like ICTS or Chanakya University, reflects that aspect of the trust, very critical in this country to run the system. And we are very happy today he is here for this. I said some of these. I said all these preliminaries only because of the fact that the Chanakya University is going to be what it is because of all these personalities. They are going to be there with the system for many years to come. And that is what is making what gives me confidence is the fact that these are the people who will guide it, mentor it, support it in the coming years. And there is no question, having heard them today, there is no question that the Chanakya University is going to see places, going to go to heights, which I am sure many of you are expected. The research university, world-class research university. In this backdrop, I just want to say a few things which I thought I should prepare and talk to you, but I could not resist talking something extempore. I am delighted to be part of this memorable evening and sharing the excitement of the birth of an institution that will bring its own rightful share of influence in shaping the destiny of our great nation, Bharat, as we progress into the 21st century. Bharat, with its extraordinary legacy and heritage, is at a turning point in the context of its making a transition towards what our Honorable Prime Minister characterized as developed India. India is set to become the world's third largest economy by 2027. I hope I'm right, Mohan. India's GDP could be more than double from 3.5 trillion to surpass 7.5 trillion. These are numbers you revel. By 2031. India's rapid strides in the information technology, biotechnology, space technology, energy systems, including nuclear energy and many other areas, certainly are assuring in terms of its growth projections. Further, the recent easing of private investments in a number of industrial, commercial, and other related areas, together with the emergence of unicorns and other types of startups, has been unprecedented. A case point being, today India is the home to 107 unicorns valued at 340 billion. And another good example today to tell that yesterday we had a first private launch of a private rocket which was built totally by the private sector. So these are the characteristics of a country which is progressing and is had to play a meaningful role in the context of the 21st century. The ambitious agenda towards a vision
for India in 2047. That is what Mohan said, the 100th year. That the 100th year of its India is beautifully encrypted in the word Amrit, which stands for A for access, inclusion, and equity, M for maximizing technology, R for research, innovation, and creativity, I for internationalization, T for towards a sustainable future. Central to this entire vision is for Bharat to reach a preeminent position as a leader in the areas of education, research, and innovation. This recognition made the present government to go for a totally revamped educational agenda that fulfills the aspirational goals of the 21st century youth to have a meaningful, constructive role as a part of the society and its development. I see Chanakya University as a fitting response to this Amrit vision, entering the vast and intricate knowledge arena at the most opportune moment with its aspiration to reach the peak of its performance, the foreseeable future. This university is destined to witness transforming itself into a world-class research university well before it reaches its silver jubilee year, that is, coinciding with India's 100th year of independence. I see a great journey ahead, beginning today, which all of us here are highly privileged to be a part of. Chanakya University has been founded by great visionaries whose credentials are unmatched, whose familiarity with education, academics, and related activities impeccable, and whose commitment and dedication to the cause of education is unparalleled. Some of them have been also a part of the drawing up of the vision and mission of the new education policy 2020. This has brought in additional authenticity to the purpose, vision, and values in conceptualizing the academic architecture of this institution. Some of the most eminent individuals who symbolize the foundational spirit of this university are here with us. I can see here Professor Manjul, we talked about it, Dr. Ashwathanarayan, Dr. Sudhamurthy, Dr. Sitaram Jindal, Professor Sridhar, Professor Gopalakrishnan, Mohan Das Pai, as well as Biocon leader. I don't want even, she is so eminent amongst us. There are, of course, I do recognize also the presence of very distinguished members of the Board of Governors, the Board of Management, and of the International Advisory Council among the members. Of course, we have both the Vice Chancellor and Post Chancellor here along with us in this group. To these names, I am sure you will add in the near future several more pioneers. I want to call them pioneers because still the time is not out that people can just enter into the arena and still call themselves as pioneers for this university. But they will be commitment, whose commitment and dedication to the cause of education is unparalleled. Some of them have been, what I want to say is, provide the base for this institution. Many of them will provide the base for this, what this institution will be in the coming years, the pioneers that I have been talking about. Needless to emphasize, and I want to say these leaders who will be added now further to these pioneers have unique ability, strong enough to lead, wise enough to listen, and willing enough to subordinate individual ambition to collective advancement. That is the uniqueness of the pioneers that we will have for Chanakya University in the coming years. I would like to use this occasion to briefly highlight the importance and the key role that the universities play in progress of any nation. Universities are the fountains with the nation building rests. They symbolize academic freedom and fountainhead of inspiration, acting as perennial sources to generate and disseminate new ideas and knowledge. Secondly, the world-class universities engage in cutting-edge research along with teaching the next generation, their students. Further, world-class universities produce students who will go on to be the leaders in all walks of life, specifically in scholarship, the professions, and public life. Thirdly, great universities must allow their researchers the freedom to experiment, succeed, and sometimes fail. The researchers should be able to make grand mistakes as well as grand discoveries. It is often through making these mistakes that the grand discoveries are made. Lastly, the world-class universities have permeable boundaries. This implies encouraging interdisciplinary research and teaching, working with other agencies like private sector, and fostering and encouraging partnership with industry, and even encouraging international collaboration. The bottom line is that the world-class universities look outward, think beyond conventional boundaries of today. The students that we educate today will have opportunities to go and live and work in a range of cultures. We must equip them for this life for teaching, offering other types of experiences, meeting their contemporaries elsewhere, and so on. The question of bringing about transformation in the Indian universities so that they become really examples of international diversity is going to be quite challenging. As a first step, we could experiment with bringing in several diverse cultures that this country offers to be brought within the ambience of a university environment so that the broader national outlook is made possible. I am saying these because this university have certainly enormous potential in the era of globalization. The question is whether we can boldly take up these opportunities and make a virtue of the same. Now I would like to focus on about certain aspects of national education policy, reflecting on the immediate interests of Chanakya University. Of course, we discussed this today as a part of the advisory council. The first relates to that of the multidisciplinarity and holistic liberal education. A lot of this has been said by the previous speakers, with special focus on undergraduate level. The central idea of this approach is to educate to ensure that a strategy, especially in today's context, that will enable students to explore the numerous remarkable intertwined relationships that exist between the science and the humanities, mathematics and arts, medicine and physics, and etc., and more generally, to explore the surprising unity of all human endeavors. This holistic aspect aims to develop all capacities, not just intellectual, but aesthetic, social, physical, emotional, and moral in an integrated manner. The 21st century calls for this kind of education, considering the focusing narrowly on acquiring information and developing skills could lead to frequent obsolescence. The time frame of 4 years of undergraduate education should devote considerable efforts to learn, how to acquire information, and how to develop skills. This means learning to learn and read closely, to think critically, to disentangle arguments, and to separate truth from untruth. These capabilities that broad liberal education in arts and sciences fosters more readily than in a narrow, focused technical preparation. Chanakya University should certainly commit itself to this kind of education, and I was happy to hear about this today in several discussions in this university. To provide another perspective to this approach, I would like to quote from the observations of Albert Einstein, and I quote, "Overemphasis on competitive system and premature specialization on the ground of immediate usefulness kill the spirit on which all cultural life depends, specialized knowledge included. It's also vital to a valuable education that independent critical thinking be developed in a wide young human being, a development that is greatly jeopardized by overburdening him with too much and too varied subjects. Overburdening necessarily means also superficiality. Teaching should be such that what is offered is perceived as a valuable gift and not as a hard duty. Another important point I like to make it relates to the preservation of the achievements of humankind over eons through collections of books and manuscripts, works of arts and literature, objects and artifacts. The great strides that the humankind has made over millennia, besides providing enrichment to human saga of progress, has also been the edifice for building new knowledge through successive generations and need to be celebrated. We impart the appreciation of these achievements through our teaching and research. In this context, one of the key missions of Chanakya University is the preservation and achievement and enrichment of knowledge and culture. The introduction of a specialized education system on Indian knowledge systems exemplifies this objective for enrichment, besides its influential role in providing unique insights to the first present day problems in a variety of human endeavors. I would also like to call of you to recognize the central importance of basic research as an enabler of enrichment and repository of ideas and helping to fund innovation. I may mention that India's ranking among the emerging economies in terms of research support leaves much to be desired. Only the other day, Mr. Narayana Murthy, founder, Infosys, and an eminent visionary of this country, lamented about the inadequate research support, unsatisfactory aspects of the quality of higher education, and the poor global ranking of the Indian higher educational institutions, with resultant impact on the vital development, for example, in the areas like vaccine, for a variety of healthcare needs. On the other side, taking cognizance of the recommendation of the NEP 2020 for the establishment of a national research foundation to spur research systems in the universities and allied institutions, the recent announcement by Honorable Chief Minister of Karnataka, Sri Basavaraj Bommaiji, about the creation of a Karnataka State Research Foundation is truly a welcome step in the context of enabling higher education institutions to adopt open science and research, support for university-based cutting-edge research, among many other incentives. Under the oversight and visionary leadership of Dr. Ashwatha Narayanji, I am sure he is well known to give extra impetus to all his challenging roles. The initiatives of Karnataka government is sure to fructify. I say this with full conviction that Chanakya University should bring the research culture right from the day one. Even though we will discuss many things in the coming months and years and develop several ideas in knowledge creation, dissemination, and utilization, I find no better way to end my address than to return back to the wisdom of Albert Einstein, who said the following while speaking to a group of young students, and I quote, "Bear in mind that the wonderful things that you learn in your institutions are works of many generations, produced by enthusiastic support and infinite labor in every country of the world. All this is put into your hands as your inheritance in order that you may receive it, honor it, add to it, and one day faithfully hand it over to your children. Thus do we mortals achieve immortality in the permanent things which we create in common." If you always keep that in mind, you will find a meaning in life and work and acquire the right attitude towards other nations and ages. I unquote. I'm sure Chanakya University, with its laudable value systems, encompassing many different dimensions of human thoughts and endeavor, should leave a legacy which, in a sense, could become a part of immortality, finding its place among the permanent things which you create in common. What better way to pay tribute to the name which you have so thoughtfully chosen for this university? Thank you.
When we met Sir to invite Sir for this occasion and requested for a presentation, the first thing Sir mentioned was about the need to do research for this presentation. Even at this juncture, the kind of research that Sir puts in smallest of his small talks is truly amazing.
we are trying to get in the same kind of research aptitude in the methodology of learning and teaching in the university. Thank you so much, sir. We have a message from His Excellency, the Governor of Karnataka, and the visitor, Chanakya University, Sri Tawarchand Yeloj. Request the message to be presented.
आचार्य चाणक्य जी की सोच एवं प्रगतिशील नेतृत्व का सृजन करने हेतु भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा को आधार बनाकर एक बहुविषयक वैश्विक आधुनिक चाणक्य विश्वविद्यालय की स्थापना नई राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति के प्रावधानों को ध्यान में रखकर की गई है। मैं इसके लिए विश्वविद्यालय की एडवाइजरी काउंसिल, बोर्ड ऑफ गवर्नर्स एवं बोर्ड ऑफ मैनेजमेंट के सभी सदस्यों को बधाई एवं शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। चाणक्य विश्वविद्यालय जिज्ञासा, क्षमता, चरित्र, संस्कृति, संचार और प्रतिबद्धता के प्रारूप पर आधारित संस्थान होगा। इस विश्वविद्यालय में छात्रों को अपनी रुचि और जुनून अनुसार ऐच्छिक विषय चुनने की स्वतंत्रता होगी। इस विश्वविद्यालय का ग्लोबल कैंपस बेंगलुरु अंतर्राष्ट्रीय हवाई अड्डे और एरोस्पेस इंडस्ट्रियल जोन, जिसमें 1000 से अधिक मल्टीनेशनल कॉरपोरेट है, के पास स्थित है, जो छात्रों को प्रोजेक्ट्स, इंटर्नशिप और उद्योगपतियों के साथ बातचीत के माध्यम से सीखने और उद्योगों के साथ संपर्क बनाने के लिए प्रोत्साहित करेगा। प्रसिद्ध उद्योगपतियों और अकादमिक व्यक्तियों द्वारा निर्देशन प्राप्त होगा तथा लाभदायक सलाह मिलेगी। मैं विश्वविद्यालय की सफलता की कामना करते हुए सभी को बधाई एवं शुभकामनाएं देता हूं। धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
We thank the Honorable Visitor of Chanakya University, His Excellency the Governor, for his kind gesture. An engineering graduate, an activist and a social leader with deep involvement in the education system of India, Sri Nagaraj Reddy has spent over 30 years in student organization, involved himself with youth empowerment initiatives, heads multiple institutions of education and youth empowerment. As the secretary of the sponsoring body, Center for Education and Social Studies, he heads the operational strategies of Chanakya University. May I invite you, sir, for the vote of thanks.
ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ನಮಗೆ ಶುಭ ಹಾರೈಸಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಗಣ್ಯ ಅತಿಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ, ನೀವು ಈ ಏನು ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆಗಳನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸಿ ಆಶೀರ್ವದಿಸ್ತೀರಾ, ಅದೇ ವಿಚಾರವನ್ನು ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಕ್ಷೇತ್ರದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾರತೀಯ ಕೇಂದ್ರದ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಇದಾಗಬೇಕು. ಬಡ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರತಿಭಾನ್ವಿತ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಜಾಗತಿಕ ಮಟ್ಟದ ಅತ್ಯುನ್ನತ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ದೊರಕುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನಕ್ಕೆ ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ಒಂದು ನಾಂದಿ ಆಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ಈ ಸಂದರ್ಭದಲ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನ ನಾನು ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹಿಸಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯಗಳ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳು, ಕುಲಸಚಿವರು, ಹಾಲಿ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾಜಿ ಕುಲಪತಿಗಳು, ಜನಪ್ರತಿನಿಧಿಗಳು, ಮಾಧ್ಯಮ ಮಿತ್ರರು, ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ವಿವಿಧ ಇಲಾಖೆಗಳ ಸರ್ಕಾರಿ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಗಳು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮನ್ನು ಆಶೀರ್ವದಿಸಿದ್ದೀರಾ. ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ನಿರಂತರ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿ ಇರಲಿ ಅನ್ನುವಂಥ ಅಪೇಕ್ಷೆಯನ್ನು ವ್ಯಕ್ತಪಡಿಸ್ತಾ ನಿಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಕೃತಜ್ಞತೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಅದೇ ರೀತಿ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮ ಮಿತ್ರರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದು ನಮಗೆ ಪ್ರೋತ್ಸಾಹಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಅವ್ರಿಗೂ ಸಹಿತ ನಾನು ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ, ಚಾಣಕ್ಯ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಕ್ಯಾಂಪಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹರಳೂರು ಗ್ರಾಮದಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಹರಳೂರು ಮತ್ತು ಚೆನ್ನಳ್ಳಿ ಗ್ರಾಮ ಪಂಚಾಯಿತಿ ಸದಸ್ಯರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಲ್ಲಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸದಸ್ಯರುಗಳಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿನ ನಮಗೆ ಸಹಕರಿಸ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಾನು ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತಾ, ಮುಂದಿನ ದಿನಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಇದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಬೆಂಬಲ ನಮಗೆ ಸಿಗಲಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಮಾತುಗಳನ್ನ ಮುಗಿಸ್ತೀನಿ. ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳು ಸರ್. As we come to the end of today's event, may I request everybody to rise for the national anthem. I request all the guests to please be seated for a moment while our dignitaries leave. I request all of you to please be seated for another minute while our dignitaries leave. And we request you all to please join us for high tea before you leave the campus today. We thank you so much on behalf of everybody at Chanakya University. Namaskara.